What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to Double Coverage. I'm Juanito with the great man, Juanito, and we hope you're still living, loving, and breathing sport. Juanito, how are you, big fella?
I'm good, Juanito. It's going to be a big show, let me tell you. And we will be going by those names for the rest of the show because there is only one man that is in the spotlight at the moment in the hobby, and that is Juanito. So we've just taken on the Mr. Ito's endings, and I'll go by Juanito, and Doma will go by Juanito, and we'll talk a bit about him later in the show. But before we do, we will get to our usual correspondence, which is going across the sports. What do we have on the agenda, Doma?
So, yeah, we're going to cover that off and try and get all the sports sorted in about half an hour, 40 minutes. And then the hobby talk, we'll have a bit of a roundtable discussion. We've got a couple guests jumping on tonight, and we're just going to talk about the great and powerful Juanito, of course, everything that's transpired there, and anything else hobby related that anyone wants to talk deep dive into. And the chat, because it is a live roundtable, the chat will be able to drop in any comments, anything that they would like us to talk about as well. And let's be honest, the world is our oyster. And disclaimer, just to preface everything, it is speculation. We're only mucking around. There is some stuff that will be serious in that conversation where we think it could be legit or is legit. And to start the top of the show, we're just going to say, not to be arrogant, we never are really, ever, but we told you so for the last 2 years. We knew who he was. We called that account by Juanito for 2 years because we knew all this, like everything about it. We didn't know that he did the scamming stuff, of course, or else we would have revealed that. But we knew his name. We knew where he was from. We knew all of that. So
ultimately, Doma, we warned people that he was a lemon. So
yeah, we told people he was a lemon. Correct. So, and his friendships in the hobby should pretty much justify that he's a lemon. You just need to follow the breadcrumbs, which we'll get to that later on. But we are going to start with the AFL source, and it all kicks off finals football Thursday night this week, 7th of September, 7:20 p.m. at the G. Pies versus D's. Gamble responsibly because the Pies are $1.81 favourites here. Due to based off of sports bet odds, Melbourne $2.04. Saucy, what is your prediction?
I think it's going to be a crazy game. I mean, I did see some reports of some weather, and it could be some rain about on Thursday evening. So we'll see if that plays a bit of a plays into it. Predicted to go 2 rucks, Collingwood, and which I think would probably be a mistake if you ask me if it's going to be weather. Oh, well, they don't know. It could be the rope a dope. Could be the old rope a dope where they do the late change and they just go with the 1 ruck. It might just be, they might see what they're doing. But prediction is obviously you got to name teams 48 hours out from the clash. That's generally how they do it. So I think teams have been named for the clash, and then they've named 2 rucks. I think I was listening to the news report before. So it'll be interesting to see whether they do go with the 2 rucks. But I had a chat with some Collingwood supporter today, and he goes, "What do you think?" He's going to the game. And I said, ultimately, I think it's going to come down to whether you're going to be able to control enough of the ball around the contest, because we know what a beast Petrarca and Oliver are around the contest. You generally give Melbourne first hands on the ball. If you guys can nullify them a little bit in that area, I think you have enough class around the other areas of the pitch, of the field, to get the job done. So, look, ultimately, I think it's going to come down to who wins that contested ball, and the team that wins, is able to dominate in the contested area and, obviously keep the pressure up around the ground. They're going to come out victorious. But I'm going to have to at the moment, I'm going to have to edge Melbourne. Now, I'm not saying that Collingwood can't, make it. I feel like Melbourne might have their measure on this occasion. And so I'm going to tip the D's. It's going to be close.
I don't know what I'm doing here, Sauce. I know I jumped off of Collingwood in about 3 weeks ago. I obviously tipped him from round 9, 2022 all the way to that point, and they won that game that I didn't tip them. But based off of the way that we've been talking on this podcast and talking about informed teams getting in form at the right time, I'm also going to back Melbourne in with you. There's 3 hot teams at the moment playing finals football that are outsiders' chances to win the flag, and that is Melbourne, Carlton, and GWS. GWS, I don't think can win it, but they're red hot at the moment. So
Playing good football.
We'll get to that game and how I think we're probably going to both tip them to pinch that game when we get to it. But yeah, I'm going the D's. If it's wet weather football, I think they've got a lot more class in the midfield. The D's, they've got Bulls in there.
I just think they're just better in the contested ball, and we know what a contested game is going to come if it starts raining. It's going to be massively contested.
And Gordon's the best ruckman on the field anyway, and you can play him anywhere. They got the better defenders. So I'm going the D's. The next one on Friday night football, 7:50 at the G. Also, we have Carlton $1.50 favourites against the Swans, $2.60 outsiders. Gamble responsibly. Saucy, it is make or break. Here it is for the Blue Bag. The lid's been off for about 10 weeks. Yeah, but the lid's been off for 10 weeks.
10-year drought. It's done. Finals drought. It's done. I think it was 10 years. I believe I heard them say Blue Abroad, and they're hyped. They're hyped. They're hyped down there at Blue Abroad YouTube channel. Make sure you check them out. Always give them a shout out here because it was great viewing. Even though I'm not a Carlton supporter, some of the the fan content that they do, it's brilliant. It's brilliant. They're hyped, and they should be because they're playing some really, really good football. I think they should obviously that loss in the last round that they had rested quite a few players. I don't think they should read too much into it. They'd secured in that spot. They couldn't really fall anywhere. It's a good matchup for them. I feel like they'll have the class against Sydney. The 2 tall forwards will be too much. We hope that the weather may hold out. I mean, there is predicted rain Friday. I think there might be a little bit more of a lighter rain, so maybe it might be predominantly Thursday that it does fall. So we'll see whether that comes into effect. But I'm going with the Blues. I think the Blues are in better form. I just don't believe in Sydney's ability around the ball. I feel like other than Parker, where's their next main ball winner that's going to go in there and get that contested ball against Cripps, against Walsh? I don't know. I'm going to go with the Blues. It's going to be a tough game. Don't get me wrong. I feel like it's going to be decided within 3 goals, and I don't think it will be a blowout because Sydney will make a contest of it. And they have obviously got that finals experience from last season. They did make the grand final. Carlton, new, fresh to the finals. Some players there, playing their first finals. A lot of them. So it's going to be pressure moments down at the G. Friday night, 7:50 p.m. Make sure you tune in. It's going to be a hot and contested one. I'm going the Blue Baggers.
I'm going Blue Baggers also, Sauce. Another team that we've spoken about being red hot going into finals footy. I think they've pieced it together. They're up and about based off the inside intel that you personally gave on this show 3 weeks ago. They were up and about. Their confidence is sky high. Their belief.
No one in the rest of Melbourne reported that, mate. Only here on the Double Coverage podcast did you hear that. Yep. Exclusive. The team bonding down at a local cafe where I close by to me.
He was bonding with him.
And I did the old sit close enough but not too close. I heard what was going on. I heard and they have the belief there at the Carlton Football Club. They really, truly believe that they can take this thing the whole way. Like the way that they were talking, and they believe it because of the situations they've been put in this season. They've been able to find, obviously the bad start. They found their way out of that. Then in games where they were making that run to come into finals, they found their way out of those games. Were able to get those tough wins. Those really, tough wins where you got to manage the game in the last 3 minutes and you come out on top. And that's instilled a lot of belief in their system, a lot of belief in themselves. And, that could take you a long way, mate. Have a look at the Doggies, what they did, when they went on that run. It can take you a long way. So, and it took the Doggies all the way to a grand final, and they took home the major prize. So, believe, Carlton fans. That's what I'll say. Believe, because your actual brand of football that you've been playing in the last 12 weeks is good enough to win you a grand final, especially with Big Charlie up there. Move the ball fast. Get Charlie in as many one-on-ones as you can. Move Harry McCoy up the ground. I'm telling you right now, get him up the ground. Make him the link-up guy. Get Charlie Curnow one-on-one. Get him 10 one-on-ones. He'll kick you 5-6 goals every game. I'm telling you, he's that good.
Yeah, I agree.
It's not
He's a
hard.
gun.
It's not hard, mate, this game. It's not hard. Get to the forward who's dominant one-on-one. You will win.
Very cool. No, I agree with you.
There's no defender in the finals that can guard him. There's no defender in the finals that can guard him one-on-one. I don't care. No one. You'll piece them all up.
Vinny, welcome. Matty, Tabe, welcome also. The next two games are the Saturday games. First one's at 3:20 p.m. And we have the Saints versus the Giants at the G. The criticism, obviously, from ourselves are that they are a Marvel Stadium football club. The big test is when it comes to finals, you need to win all your games at the G or interstate. Their big test is against the red hot, and I mean red hot, GWS Giants, who everyone said had no business playing finals this season, where you come to this show in the preseason review and we said they'll be there. Don't sleep on them because they're actually very good. And here they are playing in an elimination final. I'm backing the Giants. They're gone into $1.72 favorites. The Saints are 2.13 outsiders. And I'm backing the Giants.
I'm going the Giants. Their brand of football is a lot better. I think the bigger ground suits them at the G. And they're just playing better football overall. And I just feel like around the ball, Canelio, Kelly, Tom Green around the ball is better than that midfield of, Steele. Who else they got in there? I can't even name anyone outside of Steele because I don't take much notice. Crouch. I just feel like they're better. They're better in that area of the field. So, and that's where it's going to be won or lost. And yeah, I think the Giants. I'm going to go the Giants by 3 goals.
Oh, yeah, I'm backing them as well, as I said. And then the last game at the Gabba, 7:25 p.m. The Brisbane Lions, $1.47 favourites against the Port Adelaide Power, who are 2.67 outsiders. I'm throwing this one to you, Sauce. This is the talk. The two teams that haven't been able to do shit in the last few seasons. They had the rub of the green for one final series, these two sides, that's for sure. And they bottled it. Juanito, who have you got?
I'm just going to go with Brisbane because it's up in Brisbane, and the Gabba, they're very, very strong. Their record is just amazing up there. But on the flip side, if Port Adelaide do cause the upset, as per the bookies odds suggest, let me tell you, I'll be on the Port Adelaide bandwagon. If they can go up there, beat Brisbane, they get the home preliminary final.
They'll lose.
They get the home preliminary final.
They'll lose. They've had home prelims before, and they lost.
All right. Well, we'll see. They won't win though, because Brisbane will win.
But they still get a home. They get a home final the following week anyway.
Home second chance final, but then they've got to go on the road for the next one.
Yeah, they're going to come to Melbourne, I think.
Yeah.
They're going to come to Melbourne. So I'm going Brisbane also, Sauce. We've gone the exact same picks for this week for the first round of the finals. It is going to be a cracker. It's going to be a cracker.
That's a good bet for Port at those odds. Matty, I wouldn't be touching it. You just don't know how they go on the road. I wouldn't be touching Port Adelaide. I would have a look in play and see how they're faring. But I mean, I wouldn't go against Brisbane. I think what are they 10 in a row up in the Gabba, something like that.
They're playing good football. They actually are playing good footy though as well. The Lions, so credit to them. Big weekend coming up. Enjoy them all. 3 games on Channel 7, and the Friday game is on Foxtel. It says here.
They should all be on free to air.
I think they are. They're all on free to air. Sorry, apologies. All on free to air. It just moved over on the cursor. So tune in, and we'll cover them all next week as we move through to finals week 2. All right, Sauce. Here we go. Premier League. Bit of Premier League stuff. Let's get to the results. West Ham 2-1 over Luton. Everton 2-2 against Sheffield. Man City dismantled Fulham. I went to bed at the 65th minute, mate. I'd seen enough at that point. Chelsea get rolled, I think it's safe to say. In a FIFA-esque game, they had like 25 shots on goal in this game. They lose 1-0 to Nottingham. Not going to bag them, to be honest. Tottenham 5-2
bagged them
over
enough
Burnley.
last season. We hope they can turn it around for their fans. But when you spend that sort of money, the amount of money that they've been spending, you got to be better.
Yeah, I know. I can't say anything because we spent a lot of money too and we're shit. Ange Ball, unbelievable.
He's turning it around, Ange Ball. He's got the fans on the back. They're singing his name. They got the pub
dominated
songs
in this game. I know they played Burnley, but my theory on this is he was the target. Apologies for anyone that's not an Australian listening to this podcast, but I'm of the opinion, tell me if I'm wrong, Source, but Harry Kane, before he left to go to Bayern Munich, which he's now playing at, and he's playing good football over in Bayern Munich, it came across as a bit of a buddy effect the last few seasons. It was too predictable that they were always going to try and look for him to kick their goals. So defenders were able to read the play a lot easier against Tottenham. What I watched on the weekend was free-flowing football where their midfielders literally partnered up with the attackers and roles reversed, and it felt so much more free-flowing.
Look, I've watched every Tottenham game
teams,
thus far,
bro.
and it's a great brand of football to watch because it makes for exciting games. It makes for exciting games, and you're going to watch that game of football, and there's going to be goals, and it's just great to watch. It is great to watch, and you listen to other Tottenham fans who speak about it, and they just go, mate, we haven't played this type of brand of football, any of that in the last 4 or 5 seasons. None of anything close to this. So I think he's got the Tottenham fans up and about.
Good on
as
him.
well.
We want to see him succeed. That's for sure. And he's doing a great job. He started off. I couldn't care less. I, of course, want him to succeed against whoever he plays, even Man United, because they're shit. Next game, 2-2, Brentford, Bournemouth. Brighton get the win over Newcastle, who have been pretty underwhelming the last few weeks. They defeat them 3-1. Palace defeat Wolves 3-2. Liverpool get the job done against Aston Villa. Dominic Szoboszlai on the score sheet in that one. And then the big one, it was Monday morning, 1:30. Arsenal 3, defeat Manchester United 1. So
come on. Here he is, Big Declan.
Should have been a lot more.
Rookie card.
Should have been a lot more.
I'll just say this. Look, good to get the win. If anyone hasn't seen the reaction, make sure you go check out the live stream. Hit the description, click the winner. You just see me celebrating the goal right in Dom's face. So it's pretty funny to watch. But I'll just say, first and foremost, we deserve that win.
100%.
We played the much better football, and if we were managed to lose all 3 points or even dropped points, I would have been upset. Thought that was the case when was it Garnacho? We thought he was through, but Gabriel pulled the smooth criminal and straightened up, got him offside. We thank VAR in this case.
You also had a guy on your team that could have put you up, and he fluffed the ball. A professional footballer.
Yeah, I was about to get to that. I was like, but if we did go on to lose that point and lose at that point, I would have been cursing because one guy on the team, and I'll just say this, and I said this on the live stream. Why, after everything we built last season, the way we played when Gabriel Jesus was fit, obviously we got Nketiah. Maybe Nketiah is the starting guy and Jesus is the guy that comes on at 60th minute because Nketiah is improving it as a player more and more. Mate, why are we trying to change the whole system for this Papagallo in Kai Havertz, this peanut, who can't even, when he's 2 meters out from goal, fresh airs the ball? Fresh air's the ball.
You should have tagged your reaction when you saw that happen, because I was pissing myself laughing. I was on a 10-second delay to source. I was watching it 10 seconds ahead of him, and I started laughing. And I said, "Oh, I can't wait for this." And then when it happened, he lost the plot. It was hilarious.
Well, he's a lemon. He's terrible. Look, I'll give him a few more games, but I'm telling you, if after 2-3 more games, we don't, we see what we've seen already, and he doesn't put him on the bench, I'm gonna start questioning some of Arteta's decision in that case. But I'm gonna give him a little bit more chance, because look, I'll be honest with you. From what I actually seen, he didn't help in the link up play. He just fouled a lot. He fluffed the ball, miskicked it. He can barely take on guys from what I'm seeing. His passing ain't anything great. So what do we got? What did we pay 60 million for? What did we pay 60 million for? I don't know. So anyway, we got the win. Congratulations, Declan Rice, first goal for the club. So, props to that. It was good to get the winner, obviously, and against Man U as well. But Doma, I will say this on your club, and you could say anything. But
No. I was like, before you say it, I don't want. I'm not going to talk about my club. I'm actually not talking about him. I'm going to say. I was about to say Juanito, because I sound like a freaking broken record every week when I talk about United. I want now someone else that follows another football club to sit there in yourself and say, Dom, you were right the whole time. Juanito, you were on the money. So what did you see? Because I didn't say nothing to you on the stream, and you said it. You brought it up with me.
I seen a very, very passive game plan. Not wanting to be on the front foot. Literally playing. You were playing like I was saying to you, bro. You're Manchester United, and you're playing like you're Wolverhampton, like you're a bottom 6 club, and you've got to, I understand our game style is press, get the ball back, this and that. But your mentality as a team should be to not allow Arsenal to get the game on their terms, because that's how they want it. So we want to disrupt them by sitting back and allowing us to have the possession and all that. You played right into our hands. And look, I'll be honest with you, you don't have the quality of defender and player in midfield to sit back and defend like that. You guys need to actually take time off us, because when you give guys like Odegaard time on the ball, Saka time on the ball, mate, they're going to piece you apart. Sorry, but they're just eventually, over 90 minutes, you're going to get caught. And Martinelli was having a field day with Wan-Bissaka down that right-hand side. I mean, your club has to do something on that right-hand side, because Wan-Bissaka, sorry, although I spoke good about him 2 years ago, he's shit. He is shit. And he gives you nothing going forward. He's half decent in defense, but he literally gives you nothing going forward. Absolutely nothing. You're playing with a right back where you get no overlap, no anything going forward. And he can't really cross the ball that well from what I've seen. So look, and the game style just baffled me, to be honest. So look,
actually, I will say one thing.
Frustrating.
I will say one thing, and I'm leaving on this, and I'll get into this week's fixtures. Onana, the goalkeeper, had more touches than Bruno Fernandes at halftime. More passes. That's all I'm saying. I'll leave it on that one. So let's get to this week. And I'm not over-exaggerating. I'm not talking shit. That is fact. So games this week. Match week 5. Wolves, Liverpool, Aston Villa, Palace, Fulham, Luton. Oh, dear. Man United versus Brighton. Tottenham, Sheffield. That's at home, so we'll probably grind out a draw or win somehow. West Ham, Man City, Newcastle, Brentford, Bournemouth, Chelsea, Everton play Arsenal, and Nottingham, Burnley.
There's a week's break, Doma. So there's a week's break. I'm just let the
there is too. Sorry, there is
international break this week. So those games are next weekend. I think the 15th, 16th.
Yeah, it is. It is. Sorry, you're on the money, because it's the same with the Saudi League, which we're about to get into, because I checked that. Vinny said, my Blues are done. 1 billion spent for F all. I'm now an Ange and Tots man. And welcome to Global. We're just gearing up. We're almost at the round table. We're probably 3/4 of the way through the sport for this week. The Saudi League source, we got to get to the results, mate, because there was a huge upset in the first game. Al Fateh defeat Al Ali 5-1. This is the team that has Mahrez, Same Maximum, Bobby Firmino. They get done 5-1 in this one in a massive smashing and a massive upset. The second game, let's be honest, man. They're just too good. Like Al Nassr, 5-1 over Al Hazem. I'm not even going to talk about you-know-who. Just go watch the games, mate. He's got a new lease on life. He's actually got a new lease on life. Just go watch the games. Do yourself a favor. He's playing unbelievable. He's like he doesn't have...
Could the man... Imagine he keeps going and he's able to look after himself that well.
He's playing at the next one. No, I know what you're about to say.
At the next World Cup. Ronaldo
Imagine he wins. Imagine he wins. Imagine he wins.
I'm just saying it could be a possibility. He said he was not going to play in another World Cup. But
their team's good.
I'm telling you, when you earn that type of money, LeBron James is spending $1.3 million on his body. Ronaldo's spending $2.5 million on his body, mate. Let me just tell you that.
He's all over it. Al Shabab get defeated by Al Khalij 3-1. Al Ettifaq, the Steven Gerrard team, 3-1 over Damak. Al Tawun, 4-1 over Al Wayda. Al Aqdud, 1-0 over Al Riyadh. Al Ittihad lose to Al Halal in a goal fest, 4-3. Mitrovic with the hat-trick in this one. Benzi got on the scoreboard. This is Saucy's team, Al Ittihad. He did get subbed off injured last game, but he did start this one. So he scored, Benzi, in this one. They get done, though, 4-3. They were up 3-1 at halftime, Sauce. Your mob. Jeez. And then Mitrovic just put on a clinic in the second half. Al Thaya and Al Raid play out a 0-0 draw, and Al Tay defeat Abba. Well, we should start calling him Abba. 1-0. The games... I'm not going to get into next week's games because we've got the break, as Saucy mentioned.
We'll go through them next
We'll go through them next week. All right, Sauce, let's move on to the Formula One, where he didn't win by 25 seconds, all right? It was only a lazy 6 seconds, all right? But Max Verstappen, 10 consecutive Grand Prix wins, the most in history. He made history, the great fella, the young man, getting the job done at Monza. It's the Ferrari home race, of course. They ended up finishing third and fourth. The top 10 were Verstappen, Perez, Sainz, Leclerc, Russell, Hamilton, Albon, Lando Norris, Alonso, and Valtteri Bottas. Let's have a look at our resident Aussie, Piastri, in 12th. And then we've got to give the New Zealander, Liam Lawson, a shout out. He finished in 11th in that AlphaTauri. DNFs, Ocon, and Sonoda. Everyone else was disappointing outside of the top 10, to be honest. Ferrari looked good in patches, but what can I say? Verstappen's too good, man. Even that, Toto Wolff thinks this feat isn't special at all, Sauce. He said...
It doesn't help when they call their guy into the pits and they don't even have the tyres ready.
What are you going to do?
That's just, just a Ferrari act once again, mate.
They suck.
Absolute lemon.
They suck.
Absolute lemons.
Verstappen drove beautifully, mate. He just was biding his time for the opportunity to overtake Sainz, and then he got it, and it was a move and a half. Saucy broke it down and off the grid. He did it. He broke his ankles. He went left. He gave him the hezzy. And then he just overtook
down one
him.
side, then went the other side, and it wasn't just over one lap. Like that was set up over 4 or 5 laps. That move.
He got close enough, and then
got close enough,
just distanced himself on the next one.
That's right. He worked it. He worked it well. Where he pieced it together. It was just masterful driving. I mean, you just got to go and appreciate that type of move because obviously he knows once he gets in front, he's going to be able to hold that position. But it's another thing being able to get in front, especially on a track like Monza where there's not a lot of room for overtaking. The DRS zones aren't really that big. So, yeah, look, it's...
I was just seeing one of our guests jump in. We'll bring him up in a second, but his name is hilarious. His name is hilarious.
All right, keep it going, Dom, because we got to
I
get
will
through
keep it going.
UFC
I will
and
keep
then
it
we'll
going.
bring them up.
Next Grand Prix, Singapore GP. We'll get to it next week as there's a week off. Over to you for UFC, and then we'll jump into hobby talk.
All right, UFC segment is obviously sponsored by Roll Clean Soap. #1 in MMA, BJJ, and martial arts hygiene. Make sure you check them out. They've got all your needs in soap, boost balms. They've got the beard oil. They've got the magnesium bath salts, the works. Use double coverage at checkout www.rollclean.com.au. They're #1 in MMA and BJJ and martial arts hygiene. 100% Australian owned and out of South Australia. So support your local business here down under. All right. Doma, UFC fight night Garn versus Spivak over the weekend. We will run through the main card. Morgan Chera defeated Manelo Zucchini in the featherweight division, first round KO. Featherweight division, you had William Gomez defeated Yanis Gamori, third round KO. In the light heavyweight, Volkan Ozdemir defeated Bogan Guskov, first round submission. And the lightweight division, Benoit Saint Denis defeated Thiago Moises with a second round KO. In the women flyweight co-main event, Manon Fiorot defeated Rose Namajunas, third round decision. Not good for Thug Rose. That's 2 losses in a row. So it looks like the women flyweight division, Manon Fiorot is going to, up and come and maybe might get a title shot very shortly. Who knows? Maybe one more fight. She might get a title shot. She might be up for a title shot. Who knows? But look out for her. She's 11-1 in professional MMA. So she is up and coming. And in the main event, heavyweight division, Cyril Gane defeated Sergey Spivak with a second round KO. It just goes to show in that heavyweight division. I mean, obviously you got John Bon Jones, but then outside of that, I mean, you got Gane. And there's the one more guy there who Jones is going to have to fight. I can't remember his name, but there's not really much depth now that Ngannou's gone. So it could just be a complete domination of John Bon Jones for the next few, maybe year and a bit until Jones decides to vacate the belt. I don't think anyone's going to beat him. All right, this weekend, Dom up. We will just run through this quickly and then we'll get our guest up. UFC 293. This one's up in Sydney here in Australia. It kicks off from 12 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, does the main card. The prelim card also has some crackers on there. Obviously, Jack Jenkins, the Aussie, is on there. Jamie Malarkey is on there, the Aussie. So make sure you check that out. That's on from 10 a.m. And then main card from 12 p.m. You got the light heavyweight Tyson Pedro against Anton Tukalai. Tyson Pedro, should he obviously be fit, in his last fight, he showed that he is a powerful man. So I expect him to win. Justin Tafa against Austin Lane. Last fight, Justin Tafa, Austin Lane. Austin Lane, 30 seconds into the fight, accidentally poked Justin Tafa in the eye and caused a no contest because Tafa couldn't see out of one eye. So we get the rematch here. I think Tafa's hands are too heavy. Austin Lane, this is his first fight in the UFC, even though he has a 12-3 record. First fight in the UFC. Tafa's had a few fights in the UFC. Tafa's got rocks for hands, so I feel like he's going to knock him out. So Tafa to get the KO. And then in the flyweight division, Manel Gape against Felipe Dos Santos. Felipe Dos Santos is 7-0 in professional MMA. Manel Gape is 18-6. I have no idea who wins there, so we'll flip the coin. And then in the heavyweight division, against Tai Tuivasa against Alexander Volkov. Someone is getting knocked out. This fight is not going the distance. Let's hope that Tai Bam Bam Tuivasa can get the win in front of his home crowd up there in Sydney. So that would be great for him, and I'm sure he'll crack a couple of Drink West frothies out of a shoey if he does get the job done. So we do want to see that. But it will be a very, very tough fight. Volkov is a journeyman. He's had 40 professional MMA fights. It's going to be, scrappy fight, but this fight is not going the distance, nor is someone getting submitted. Someone's getting knocked out. I can guarantee you that. And in the main event, Israel, the last style bender against Sean Strickland. I'll keep it short and sweet. Israel Adesanya either wins on KO or goes the distance and wins on points. There's no buts, and anything other than that. Izzy's too good.
Ifs or buts about it is what you're trying to say.
That's the one. That's what I'm trying to say. Thanks, Thomas. Izzy's too good. He $1.16 favorite. They've got him, the bookies, and rightfully so, because he will piece Strickland apart. Strickland's just not in the same league as Izzy. So, I'll leave it at that. That's UFC for another week. Make sure you tune in this Sunday because it's an absolute cracking card. And let's move on, Doma, because we've got some big guests to bring on the show.
Yes. All right. So, Saucy, we are going to get into hobby talk, the round table. This is actually something that the four of us spoke about as a bit of a joke. We should get on together and talk at least once a month.
Four horsemen.
The four horsemen style. One of our guests is loving it down there. He's absolutely losing the plot. We can see everything they're doing. But they mentioned we should get together once a month. And funnily enough, last week we said we're.
He's lost the plot.
So last week we said we're doing it this week, and in the lead up to us getting ready for this round table, the one and only Juanito has come out and caused an absolute stir. It was perfect timing.
Perfect timing. We didn't even plan it. It's like we planned it perfectly around this
It's
event.
like we spoke to Juanito and said, "Go scam somebody," so we can have these two guys jump on and we can have a chat about the whole premise of this. We're actually going to try and do this once a month if we can. Talk things in the hobby, talk anything in general, and just have a laugh and get you all involved in the chat. So without further ado, I'm going to bring up the guests, start sharing the live, get in here. The more, the merrier. Our first one, Obi-Wan Kenobi. Here he is, also known as Dan the Card Man. Welcome.
Thanks, boys. How are we?
Yeah, very well, very well. Very happy to have you on, Obi-Wan. And then our second guest, he could not stay away. We thought it'd be a year, 2 years, 3 years. He's telling us to hold on before we got him back on, and I can't believe that it's come to this. It's taken 4 weeks, and he's decided he can't stay away. He's gone away down below. Here he comes. He's coming back.
He's had to go get his cup.
For more than 2 or 3 weeks. He's none other than the Ass Messiah, not the Card Messiah. Ass Messiah. He's here. How are you, Jay? So,
This again.
Yeah, this again. So obviously, Dan, you've covered this in great detail over the last couple of days. We've spoken a fair bit about it. We've seen so many people in the hobby talking about this. Obviously, we didn't do an impromptu live. We just were waiting for Tuesday for today to get it all sorted. But any comments, first and foremost, from anyone? Saucy, did you want to start it off? You haven't made a comment yet, to be honest.
Well, the only comment that I've made was officially on my Instagram story, which I shared it out to everyone, and I've told people numerous times, and I've said it heaps of times on this show. We that individual, Mr. Juanito, lost us when he tried to shut us down. He tried to blame things on us. He tried to blame the whole F1 market pump on double coverage. The whole 100 listeners that listened to our show at the time when F1 blew up, because of our 100 listeners that listened to our show, we blew the whole market up. No, don't worry about the other guys that had 50,000 subscribers that were saying the same thing or whatever. No, don't worry about them. He was a peanut. He was good for the hobby for a period of time. I followed that account since it was 3,000. He was good for a period of time. He would share things that actually helped, identify fake Jordan cards, some of the dodgy stuff that goes on that, is in deep in the blowout forums. He was bringing it to light. Funny enough, did we know that there was something deep in the blowout forums about himself and some of the other stuff that he'd done. So, check it out, ladies and gentlemen. If you haven't delved into the blowout forums, it's definitely a space pre-Instagram and Facebook, blowing up for the hobby. It was the space to go for all hobby information, and there's still some great, valuable information there. It's just funny how it's done a full circle that, the guy that was supposed to be the hobby watchdog is now potentially the biggest hobby scammer of all time, and what may look like more and more things could, this is just the tip of the iceberg. It could be just the tip of the iceberg. I'm not saying it is. It could be, but, someone who just vanishes overnight like that, I mean, you're indicting yourself that you are guilty. When you just, you could have saved face. You could have said, oh, it was a mistake. I trusted the wrong person. But maybe he's realized, shit, I've dug my hole a bit deep with this one. I better vanish. And whether his name is Mr. Juanito Garcia or not, we don't know. We don't even know for fact. I think we may not see him ever again because should we do see him again, I don't know. I'm sure there's going to be quite a few people that wouldn't mind having a word with him.
I completely agree. Anyone want to jump in, make a comment, or go on a bit of a chat? Dan, I throw it to you. Thoughts?
Yeah, I just think there is a lot more to come based on what the likes of Darren Ravel has hinted at. He's obviously talking to a lot of people. There's a guy based in Sydney, here in Strathfield, that is alleging he was scammed as well by this individual. So I don't have the details on that, but by all reports, he's talking to Juan. The Australian police are already involved, and based on some other information, perhaps the FBI in the States are involved already as well. So you're not talking about anything small here. And I think the scary thing with this, at least for this individual, is that basically everybody's coming out of the woodworks now, right? So there's going to be a lot of lies that come forward, a lot of people trying to jump on the bandwagon and all that sort of stuff, but some things will stick based on what we're seeing so far. So it's not something that's going to disappear overnight. And sort of like you said, Saucy, right? The concern that I'd have, all right, is typically when you do something wrong, your lawyer's going to tell you, if they're a good one, don't do anything, right? If you give a reaction like this individual did with deleting their page and all that sort of stuff, is not a good look, and that might indicate that they're maybe trying to cover up a lot of other stuff that's on their page that people can look into down the line as well. So it's not going to go away. It's going to get a lot bigger, I think.
Completely agree. The thing is, like, if he's committed a crime over in the States, which he has, what happens if he's done it to people here also? Like, he's double dipping in the scamming, really, in two different countries. Like, I don't know how that works. If you get formally charged in two countries, what happens? I don't know. I'm not a lawyer, so I can't. But I would be speculating that he could potentially do time.
It's hard to say, right? Because he's very lucky that the jersey, the Michael Jordan jersey in question, didn't sell. And this other item that's on the Blue Out forums is only worth a few $1,000s. So it's not a whole lot of money we're talking about here. It's going to basically have to do with the stuff around, who created this fake charity, who was the one communicating with Darren Ravel, pretending to be an employee of this charity. There's all these kinds of things that would be the issues. I'm not sure financially what it looks like just yet, but I don't think anyone does. But it's sort of like a watch this space kind of thing, because lots of people in this hobby are implicated. Lots of people in this hobby had, relationships with this guy. So it's, I think, going to get messier before it gets cleaner. That's for sure.
Definitely. Completely agree. Jay, any comments? Are you smoking your sativa flavor over there, according to Global?
Sativa flavor. Firstly, good evening, guys. I hope everyone's had a good week so far, and hi to everyone in the chat. I'm very tired, so I'm going to be pretty subdued, I think, unless you guys fire me up. But any comment in regards to what you're talking about? Well, look, I've sort of been off social media for the last 10 days, so I really haven't been keeping up too much. But I did check out some stuff today, and honestly, all I'm going to say is at this point with all of this, it's all speculation. It's all innuendo. Nobody knows, right? And for the most part, it's sensationalism that's been drummed up by, guess who? Americans again. No one in the world cares except for these guys, right? They love a story. They love the drama. So you know what? Until the facts are produced, I don't think anyone should really be commenting, right? And that's what I'm going to say on it. Apart from
James reckons you.
You're Australian, mate, so you might as well.
Well, we're rooting for the Aussie. I mean, come on, let's go.
He's pulled the wool over everyone's eyes.
This poor bloke. I mean, I don't know. Listen, like I said, I've got no idea. Apart from what I said, I have no opinion. All I know is that when shit like this does happen, it generally means there's a massive conspiracy and a massive cover-up. There's always a fall guy. There's always a patsy, and there's always someone to point the finger at. Who that is, who knows? The fish's head always rots from the top, right? So I think this whole thing starts way up here and has worked its way down to wherever it is, right? But in time, it will work itself out. And, you know, if it's proven that the individual has done whatever he's done, well, then that'll be the case. And then the law will be brought in and, you know, it'll be perpetuated from there. But like I said, at the moment, speculation, innuendo, and for the most part, unless it's actually had something to do with someone personally and affected them, I don't think it's anyone's business. And that's all I'm going to say on the whole.
That's fair enough. That's fair enough. Few people, I'll get to the chat just quickly. Matty Cams reckons, I think we've got to call it here, Lemon of the Year. That's pretty fair. Global says he's leaking in his pants with this cast. I don't want to have that image in my head. Thanks, Global. Anyway, Steve Splendor says, what's up, fellas? Shout out to Dan. Matty Tabe reckons that Juanito's being deported. Word is he's on holiday run with Jamie Grant. I don't know who that is. If I missed something there,
I don't know who Jamie Grant is, so
I'm not really good with names.
But
But as Jay did say, it is all speculation and innuendo. But since the four of us are here, I think it'd be nice to speculate on a few things. And as you said, when it rots from the top. And the first thing we potentially did mention to each other was the fact that, yeah, he's done something wrong, and if the facts come out, then that's fine. Like it is allegedly, yes. But the thing is that people need to consider, like, if he's the fall guy, who's he the fall guy for? And I'm like, based off of the breadcrumbs are pretty easy to follow if you've got your head screwed on. And I know the four of us have had our head screwed on, and we can. It's so
little head or big head.
Big head. It's so plain and simple and in sight.
I'm trying to get Daniel to laugh because he always looks so bloody serious. He looks like he's on trial. It looks like he's on trial. Here we go. Look how gorgeous he is when he smiles. The poor guy. The poor guy. He looks like he's on trial for murder, right? Look, now he's smiling.
Maybe I'm card porn. That's why I'm looking like this.
Thank you, Daniel.
Juanito, Obi-Wan Kenobi.
There you go. That's Jay showing his love. That's why he's called the Arse Messiah tonight.
It's all love, man. You know how it is.
So the speculation is the web is pretty big, in my opinion, and a lot of people that haven't said anything. It can potentially be a telltale sign as to what there is to come going forward. If Darren Ravel can, as Dan did mention, is looking into things and finding out a lot of stuff. As we know, certain auction houses had
Who's
certain
this Ravel
auctions.
bloke? I just heard of him yesterday. Who the fuck is this guy?
He's a reporter in the States. So he's
And
quite
what are
influential
his
in the hobby as
credentials?
well.
Sorry, what are his credentials?
I don't remember. He's well known in the US. I know that for sure. But
So's Mr. Magoo.
But my understanding is he's a sports writer. But he's also quite a big collector too. He's quite big in the ticket space, ticket grading and collecting and all that sort of
What
stuff.
do you mean tickets?
Like match
Like,
tickets.
come to watch us perform tonight, buy a ticket. See the Arse Messiah live.
Huh? What tickets?
Like tickets.
Like
tickets to
game
a
tickets.
concert.
To a
Game
football match or a
tickets.
concert.
What does he sell? Hang on,
They
he sells
slab tickets. They slab
No,
tickets.
he's got a big collection of them.
Yes, you collect tickets like a Messi's first game ticket from the stadium. Or
Who gives a
you know,
fuck? What sort of idiots buying that shit? Are you joking? What is this a thing? What?
Yeah, that's
What,
a
this
that's
is
a
a
thing as
thing.
well.
Oh my god!
That was the pump from like 12 months ago, 18 months ago.
And
Oh my
VHS
God.
tapes
Yeah,
too.
this is my Father's Day card. I mean, if I get this like put in a PSA, like, can we make this a thing? I'm like these. Seriously, these Americans, they'll make anything up.
If you come out and say you're card porn and you sign that card and then we get it slabbed, then yes, it will be worth something, Jay.
Here's a sticker. Sports. What is it? Sports card. Not. Hey, I'll stick it to my head. Yeah. Can you grade these things?
You can
Look,
grade
it's-
stickers.
You can
yes,
grade stickers, yeah.
Yeah.
Let me guess. 10,000. I'll get it signed.
Not for that podcast.
Yeah,
that
fine.
podcast
Oh
is
my
shit.
God.
So
Hey, I was on with them last week.
So getting back to this dude. So hang on. So some guy,
I know you were.
some sports card ticket dude
No, he's
has come out with a story.
He's a well-known journalist. That's the word I'm looking for. Yeah, I think he's previously worked for ESPN. He's a top dog, basically, in that space.
You happy with those credentials?
Not particularly, no.
Clearly.
He's done a number of stories on the hobby over the last couple of years. He's broken a few scams that have happened as well, but he basically was tipped off by someone about this whole fake charity thing, and wrote an article on it, got it published. He's written before. He worked previously for ESPN. So he's not just a random Joe Blow commenting on things.
All right, so we've spent 3 minutes on this Rovel fella. All right, what's the big deal?
I don't even know how we got to that.
He likes tickets, and he also grades VHS tapes. Is that true? Or games?
Oh my god!
Yeah, a few people do. Yeah.
You know what?
How did we get to Revolt?
Works for the Action Network.
We're talking about how he's digging into.
Here we go. VHS my ass. Here's the next big thing. All right, graded cassette cleaners. All right, VHS. You reckon, pop one, yeah?
I hope you haven't got any home movies in there, Jay, that you're going to get graded.
No. It's a cassette cleaner. It's not one of my home porno movies. Graded tickets. Get out of here.
It's a big thing over there.
It's massive. Oh, you could get Mahomes' first game and get it graded.
Who cares? First game. Dude, along with the other 60,000 that exist.
Let's get back to Ravel. He's your boy, Mr. Ticket Man. He's looking into, obviously, further into this story, and potentially it could come out that there are people that are in direct correlation with Juan, and we all know that he has a marketing agency and he has other companies and he's marketed other pages, and they could have used potentially his marketing leverage in the hobby, as his account did grow to be one of the biggest and had some of the most eyes. He did push certain things. He slagged on other competitors of certain people. And I'm telling you, it could expose so much, and it wouldn't surprise us a few people that would get called out. I'm not calling these people out because, as we said, I don't want to be just throwing names out there, and you look stupid if you just say, "Oh, so and so's doing this and he's related to him." Behind the scenes, I can throw out whatever names, but live, I'm not going to do that. I don't want to get that out there in public, but. I don't know. It's time will tell. He reckons in the next few weeks, he reckons he's got more stuff coming out. He said in the next few days he had an update. Yeah,
there's apparently something coming very soon. Looking into the golden auction that Card Porn had, if you remember, about 18 months ago, about 8-9 months ago, they had an auction on there with all their items.
That disappeared today.
Yeah, so I had somebody, I mentioned this in my live the other day, reach out to me because they told me that Card Porn, the person that owned that, worked for BGS in a marketing capacity, and that raised a lot of questions because most of the items in that lot for that auction on Golden were authenticated by BGS. So then, given that if we were to take the story true that Darren Ravel was reporting on, that the person created this fake charity, got this jersey, tried to sell it off as being genuine, could they have then done the same with their items they were selling on Golden's platform? Because they worked there at the time, apparently, and could they have, used that independence breach or lack of to get those authenticity letters? So there's lots of questions on that. Darren did confirm on the live that he did with Patrick Ryan, as did Rick Probstein in the comments, that this person did work for BGS. And that's an interesting one because it was never disclosed on that page, again, which is a big thing that these influencers do in this industry, where they get paid a bag and they don't like to disclose it to you as a viewer, which is bullshit in my opinion.
100%.
Can I just interrupt for 1 second?
Yeah, go.
Just on a more positive note, I've just seen in the comments here, Anthony Falanga. I think he's just had a baby recently, a boy or a girl, I don't know. But I was chatting with Anthony maybe 2 months ago or something, and told me his wife was due. So congratulations, Anthony. Welcome to the club. And may you should have good health and happiness together with your new baby and your wife, and all should be good, mate. Enjoy it. It's a great time in life, and just to throw something positive into the mix amongst all this craziness and stupidity.
Talk about positive, because positive is here. Here he is.
Oh.
Positive.
Talk about the pipe. Talk about the sativa. This guy's the sativa king.
But yeah, congrats, Anthony. It's fantastic news. Did see that come across on the socials. So well done, mate.
And there's a dude in the chat here. I don't know him, but I recognize his name. He's an American guy. I think Steve Splendor.
Yeah.
I think it's really nice that I don't know what time it is in the USA now. I don't know what state he's in, but it's probably nice if everyone in the chat together with us, welcome and say hello to this Splendor fella, because he could be doing multitudes of other things, and he's chosen to tune in to 4 crazy Australian guys talking shit.
Welcome, Steve. I'm going to get to some of the chat now as well. Bring some of that up. So feel free, drop in a comment. I'll bring it up. If there's any topics also you want us to talk on, if you want us to go talk about certain other things on this topic that we're currently covering, by all means, we will go for probably as long as we possibly can, maybe another 20 minutes or so, half an hour. And then, but I'll start with global. This one's directed at you, Dan, because I haven't seen the pod you did with Sports Card Nonsense. He said it was funny when he came onto the chat when Dan went live and quickly tried to deflect by throwing Cardladder boys under the bus. I'm not sure.
I think he's talking about. Did you do that, Jay? Did you?
I think it's about Jay jumping on. The other day.
Jay was jumping on and was like he was jumping on and saying that we are card porn.
Jay.
Dan's
Jay.
live the other day.
Globally,
the live I did on Sunday.
The
live I did on Sunday. You came into the chat.
Oh, on your live?
Yeah.
You said that we were card porn.
You said we are card porn.
So it doesn't surprise me that you did throw these guys.
I seen it because I watched the live.
Oh, no. Yeah. I jumped onto Dan's live for about 10 minutes or something. Yeah. I wrote that. Just whatever. Have a bit of fun. Throw a spanner in the works. I mean, so many Americans watch this stuff and they take everything at face value. So you know what? Just throw it out there and get these guys thinking and stir them up.
Bamboozle them.
Maybe it is us. Maybe the 4 of us, it's us.
And you get that Grayson into the mix too, then it's complete, right?
He's too busy doing whatever he's doing.
He's too busy providing the best in-store hobby experience you could ever provide.
I'll say, I know Grayson pretty well, but Grayson, do us a favor and do everyone a favor in the hobby. Actually open your store in Tasmania up for at least 5 minutes. Just 5 minutes. Just turn that sign around to say open. It hasn't opened in 3 years. So just open it, mate. Steve said entire carport saga is just starting. There's most likely more fraud to come out, potentially a conflict of interest with auction houses, maybe even grading companies. Well, based off the BGS news, that potentially could be one of them.
But just on that quickly, it's one of those things, right, where you look at how interconnected that person was with so many of those businesses, so many of those prominent people within this industry. If some of these allegations are true, or maybe more comes to light, the tree's going to get shaken really freaking hard, and you're going to get other people probably come out as well, because you only have to look at what's happened in the hobby over the last 30 years with some of the stuff, like the Bill Mastro stuff in of itself highlighted a lot of things, right? You're going to see some people get shaken down at some point, I think.
Like I said before, Daniel, like the fish's head rots from the top, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And like in a lot of things that play out in life, as soon as someone in any capacity gets called in, hauled in, or whatever, they're going to be asked questions, and as if they're not going to throw whoever under a bus to save their own ass.
Yeah, exactly.
No,
whoever wins is going to be the first one.
Pardon me?
Whoever cuts a deal first is going to be the one that wins. Basically, I think is how it's going to play out.
Exactly.
Welcome to Flipping Steve. He said it's 6 a.m. in the States. What's up? Thanks for jumping in and having a listen. James says, can we see Roaming Saucy at 450 Canning Street, Carlton?
Just quickly,
You might have...
on Flipping Steve, he's a really good follow if anyone doesn't follow him. You'd like him, Jay, I think. He does a giveaway every single year where he gives away a trip to the National for someone, all expenses paid. So awesome. He's a really nice guy and he does some great content. So do check him out if you haven't seen him yet.
Shout out to Flipping Steve. Very nice. That's awesome. How do US collectors, says Matty Tabe. Go, Jay. You can talk over me.
Sorry.
Yeah, I'm being serious. No, I'm being serious.
No, I was just responding to Mr. Splendor here because he just said he appreciates the love. So I just said, cheers, man. So I just sort of caught the back end of what you're saying. So this Flipping Steve, is he flipping mad or what? You said that he helps pay for people to go to the National?
Yeah, every year he does a giveaway and he pays all expenses for someone. He does like a competition and then whoever wins it, he pays for their flights and accommodation, if I remember correctly, to go to the
that's
National.
really nice.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know. Listen, here, Flipping Steve, message me on Instagram, the Card Messiah _19, when it gets close to that time next year, and I'm happy to contribute a few bucks to your cause because I think that's a really nice thing.
Yeah, he had a few issues this year trying to get sponsorships to help pay for some of the stuff, which was disappointing to see. But one of the things he's implemented now, he's doing like an NFL fantasy football league where a bunch of content creators have put money in, and that's going to help fund it as well. But there's room for donations, from my understanding.
Okay, well, whatever. If
you're
sure, listen, Flipping Steve, mate, hit me up, and I'm happy to help out. All
good. Global is giving props to Steve as well. Vinny says, Juanito, did you see Optus Sports story about Arteta telling Havertz about his wife and talking about her, etc.? If not, look it up. You'll love it. As good as Ricardo's love book. Have you seen that, Jay?
Pardon? Say again. I was just reading one of the comments from this Splendor fella.
Go, Sauce. Sauce, you answer that first. Have you seen that? I don't know what he's...
Yeah, I did see what he said, Arteta. He sounds a bit loopy, if you ask me. And I don't know whether it could be the loopiness of Hazard, him actually realizing that Havertz, not Hazard, because if Hazard was in his prime at 24, he would be dominating. But Havertz is actually a dud, right? And I think he's going a bit loopy in his brain, trying to figure out how to get him into the team. And that's made him say a couple of crazy things to convince himself that Havertz is actually worth starting on the pitch. He should be on the bench. $60 million bench player, that's what he is.
Have you seen the Daniel Ricciardo love book, Jay?
Daniel Ricciardo love
erotica. It's an erotica novel. Have you seen it? I'll bring it up. I want your impressions. So this, I'm being serious. This is actually a real thing.
Who's multi-universe collectors AU?
He's someone on the internet that listens to the show, mate.
Does he?
He's based
join the show all the time.
He does, yeah.
Yeah, he does. He always tunes in.
He just said it feels like there's so much negative stuff happening in this hobby. It's not even fun anymore.
We'll get to that. Yeah, we'll get to that in 2 seconds, Joe. We'll answer his question in a second. But I want your thoughts on this. Overtake My Heart. The Thick Rick. Did it say thick?
Daniel Ricciardo romance.
Thick Rick Races for Love.
Mate, they've photoshopped my body and put it on this guy. Let's go.
Would you read it? It's the first installment.
I love
69
I'm a big
editions.
reader. Overtake My Heart. Well, I'm not Daniel Ricciardo. Is that the race driver?
Yes.
He's got an erotica novel. It's an erotica novel.
What would yours be called if there was a? It'd probably just be called the Arse Messiah, to be honest. We don't have to think too hard. So anyway, that was something that came out last week. He had no idea about it as well. He got asked about it in an interview, Daniel Ricciardo, and he's like, "What the hell are you talking about?" And they ended up showing him this, and he was like, "What?" It was actually very funny. Dan, I know that's probably on your bookshelf behind you. So
yeah,
that's
it's one of the books on there. It's a signed copy.
Yeah.
Get it graded, Dan. $10 million.
I need a few
We
more
can
than
get
that.
to Multiverse's comment, as you said, Jay. Multiverse said, I feel like there's so much negative stuff happening in the hobby. It's not even fun anymore. Well, it's not good to hear
If
that
you
you're
can-
not finding it fun. So,
Well, if you can elaborate, we can respond to that more clearly.
he did he did follow that up by saying this live each week is the only fun thing about the hobby. Oh, we appreciate that, honestly.
Yeah, that's a really cool thing that's a really nice thing to say. And multi-universe collectibles AU, like I share your sentiment 100%. Right? Like, but at the end of the day, it's only as fun as you make it. And if you don't take this shit seriously, like I said when I was, did the last live with the boys, if you don't take it seriously and just enjoy it for what the fuck it is, you'll have fun. If you take it seriously and worry about how much shit costs and all this crap, you're always going to be stressed out. But if it's just a fun thing, it will always be a fun thing.
Stay within your collecting budget.
Yeah, that's it. Collect this
find your
fucking-
lane, and it's about the relationships with the people that are genuine, that are not
100%.
obviously Mr. Juanitos and might be scammers, which unfortunately do find their way around in the hobby. But there is more good than bad in the space. There is. I'm telling you, there is more good than bad. But it's just unfortunately a few bad people make it, sour grapes for the rest of us in the space. And you have to talk about this stuff, because for too long in this space, this sort of things didn't get talked about. And even when it came down to keeping companies and that, Guard Messiah, he looks like he's on it, eh? Maybe not. Oh, who knows what's in that? That might not be sativa, mate. It might be something else.
Here we go. He's going to improve it now. You had to do it, Source. Oh.
It's fucking vape juice, you clowns. Well, it's empty bottle.
Yeah, where's the label, mate? Where's the label?
Yeah, exactly. You've been scammed yourself, Jay. They didn't sell you the right stuff.
No,
Kurt's card
wouldn't be
care
the
in there.
first time. I got married.
Kurt's card care. Oh, that's hilarious.
Who else can we give shit to? These people are all such fucking idiots, mate. This whole space is so dumb.
I was about to follow up with some with Maddie's comment, who said, "Surround yourself with good people in groups and collect what you love, and stay in your lane."
That's it. That's the bottom line. Nothing else, nothing more.
Stone Cold said so.
Does anyone use anything in the hobby in terms of like to enhance their experience, for example?
Mr. Sheen, you rub it on cards.
I mean, in terms of like, I'm not trying to start a conversation. I am trying to start the conversation just so other people can get an insight into our collecting. And does anyone use like market movers or Cardladder, or do they have any tricks and tips when they're looking at eBay sales in terms of bids and stuff like that?
Was that to us or to the chat?
No, to us. We're going to answer.
We've spoken about this before.
Who the fuck would pay for a service? Who the fuck's going to pay for service to see how much this shit costs? And graphs and charts. Like, come on, man. This is not the stock exchange. It's fucking mass-produced trading cards. Give me
Well,
a
it depends
break.
who you speak to, Jay. These are investments.
Oh, come on.
These are investments, Jay, mate. What are you talking about?
It's
I
funny.
really
I don't know
don't
a
have
single
energy for this
person. I
tonight.
don't know a single
Investments.
person
Yeah, investments.
that I don't know a single person that's paying for one of these services. To be honest, I don't know how they're getting their money. It's one of those things where I think they've roped in people just based on like fancy images on
Suckers.
Instagram and shit. Yeah,
Suckers,
and
man.
it's the same thing as like the gym memberships, right? Where you sign up and you never go, and they just like most of the people generating revenue for them are not attending the gym, right? Because they're too lazy to cancel. Some of these things with these platforms like Cardladder is case in point, and they're probably some of the biggest clowns in this industry, to be perfectly honest.
I've got Cardladder.
Well, did you get it for free?
No, I didn't get it free. I pay for the subscription.
You should cancel it. Cancel it.
You're a clown.
But that's because I want to pump my cards, mate. I want to pump my cards up on the pump ladder, mate.
Mate,
All right.
you know what? All of these services, they're so fucking easy to rig. There's someone sitting there on the back end typing in the data. Who's to say the data's live? Who's to say it's accurate? Come on.
Well,
The only thing I like on it is the fact that you can search sales on eBay further back than 3 months.
I don't know.
That's
I've
the
never
only-
looked.
That's
Never
the only
looked.
thing
Yeah,
that's
I think it's
valuable
like-
to me on
Couldn't
it.
care less. You know what, Johnny? There's two types of people that are involved in all of this shit. Yeah, either you could classify yourself as being involved in the trading card collector space or hobby, if you want to call it that. And then on the flip side, there's this whole other shit that they call a sports card market, right? And I don't know if there's a middle ground.
Steve said these investors forgot we're adult nerds collecting cardboard pictures of men.
Most of
I
these
think-
people who use the word investor or invest, they don't know the difference between an investment and a liability. And for the most part, all of this shit is a fucking liability. It's
Yeah.
not fucking an investment. Get out
Yeah,
of here.
because I think the issue with this stuff is not so much, people wanting to use it like you are, Saucy, right, where you want to see prices of things, right? Because that's easier to do. But the problem is people that get presented with it being, the solution for you to make money, like Jay was alluding to, being an investor, and this thing is going to be the thing that drives you and gets you there, makes you successful. But they need to be used for what they are, right? Just a quick entry point for you to see what prices are like, not the be or end all. The biggest issue with these apps as well, I don't think all of them do it, but some of them push you towards certain eBay listings as well. That's where you get into some serious, issues with, these businesses maybe selling you cards that they've got on their own, right? They've listed them on their platform for you to buy, and they're trying to hype it up within their app as well. We've seen that happen with plenty of people in the past. So that's
what? If someone wants an investment, like seriously, contact me. I've got 5 projects I'm building at the moment, 53 apartments in total, range from price from X to X. Come and buy one of these things. Melbourne, Australia. Yeah? Price incrementally will increase 10% every three years, if not more.
So you're telling me, Jay,
and you can collect the rent, and you can fucking borrow on these things, right? And then you can negatively gear them, and in 3 years you can borrow against that one and buy another one, and then another one, and then another one. And guess what? In 20 years, you probably got $2 to $2.5 to $4.5 million of property on something that's 700,000 or 800,000, as opposed to some stupid fucking card that's going to sit in the cupboard, give you no income, no dividends, no garnished, no nothing.
So you're telling me I can't go walk in to a bank with my Michael Jordan rookie and ask for a bank?
Get out of here.
As if you wouldn't prefer a card over a house, though, Jay. As if you don't want a card. Why would you want a house?
Card over a house.
Yeah, why would you not want that?
That's hysterical, because someone sent me a clip the other day. These two dudes, they were having a discussion, and one of these blokes says to the other one, "What would you rather, a house or this card?" And I think the card in question was like a Nikola Jokic. Is that his name? I don't follow basketball.
Yeah.
Nikola Jokic, like a black 101 or something. Right? The dude goes, "I'd rather the card over $1 million property." What the fuck's wrong with these people?
I see the value in
I'll
it.
ask the 3 of you guys now and everyone in the chat, what are you taking? A card that can actually be replicated in China. In fact, there's a company at the moment taking submissions, doing 100% replicas of cards, any card you want, NTRPAs, right, with auto pen signatures. They look exactly the same with the serial number 00/99. In a BGS case, you can have any card you want. And if you're a collector, not an investor, you'll buy one of these things that you'll put in your collection. You'll look at it. It's exactly the same as all this other shit that costs 10,000 or 20,000 or whatever, right? So I ask you guys, what are you taking? Some fucking mass-produced card or a property?
I want to be homeless with the 101 Jokic, mate.
Oh, yeah, that sounds fantastic.
You know what the scary thing is? I need to step away for a second, so I'll be back in 2 minutes. But the scary thing is, how many people would actually say they want that fucking card over that house, right? You could go to any card show in the States, and I guarantee you...
How many Australians... Okay, but break that question down. How many Aussies do you know are going to answer the way that you just said?
I don't know one.
Unless
Unless they're like
I don't know one either.
extremely rich, they don't need a freaking house, right? But even then, well, they need a card. That was the
It's
case.
irrelevant. It doesn't matter how
Exactly.
wealthy you are. It doesn't matter how wealthy you are. Okay. You can always have more, because the more you have, the more you can help your family, you can help your friends, you can set up a charitable trust, you can set up a foundation, you can give more. And typically that's what people who want to acquire more do. Okay? They don't just do it for their own ego. Well, not everyone.
Would you take it, Source, the house or the card? You're gonna answer Jay's question, so
No, well, you would be a peanut to not take the house, wouldn't you? You definitely take the house. So it's just seriously just a stupid question. If you think anything otherwise, you're actually a peanut.
How do we even get onto this?
Well, we're just
talking
talking
about
about
investors.
How the
You brought it
sentiment of
up.
how
You
people-
created the
investors,
segue.
mate.
No,
You're
but
talking
someone
about investors
you-
and
you
about
put us onto it,
investments.
Invest in yourself.
I will honestly, I'll put aside my being a smartass to wind you up for literally 2 seconds, Jay. But you, on with Source and yourself and with Dan, I wouldn't know one person that would take Australian. Well, we live in Australia. No offense to anyone else that lives anywhere around the world that's listening or tuning in right now. I don't know one Australian that will take the card. And if I did know that one Australian, I'd probably have to bitch slap him to knock some sense into them if they said they'd take the card over the house. Seriously.
The only reason
Yeah,
someone
Mojo Chasers is taking the
Take the house, sell it, and then buy the cards.
That's ridiculous. That doesn't even make any sense.
Steve
You know what
Splendor says there were actually influencers calling their PCs portfolios.
Oh, that's the funniest thing ever. Oh, yeah. Portfolios.
What, did you have a
This
scrapbook?
one's in my card portfolio, mate.
Portfolios. Yeah.
Portfolio. Unbelievable. Oh, man. I live for the card show. Yeah, Matty Tape says, I live for the card shows. They're so much fun. They are fun. There is one this weekend. Give a shout out to the Melbourne Card Fair this Sunday. If you're not doing anything, Jay, I might be going down. So if you want to catch up in Melbourne.
What's the American going on here? What's this beta Biden business? What's a beta? Like, is that the opposite of VHS?
Who else we got? There's so many things. I'm trying to keep up here. Oh, my days.
Yankee, we're going to keep politics out of this, mate. This is a family-friendly show.
Yeah, where we say fuck every 2 words.
What did I miss?
No, it was just Steve Splendor was saying how influencers were calling their PCs portfolios at one stage.
Yeah.
Like
That's one of the funniest ones
crazy.
ever. Portfolios, asset. They're still doing it. I've got. Hang on. I'm gonna read. Mate, this is hysterical. You guys just go on. I want to find something on my phone.
Global says he's currently studying real estate at the moment. There you go. That's nice.
One of the things I was thinking of when I had to run, so I had to make my daughter her bottle. But
all good, mate.
I have one.
You can if you want. The biggest problem I have is it's not so like obviously people can do what they want and they can say these things, but it's scary how many young kids and younger men especially are sort of listening to what these guys are saying and are following it, right? You hear about these card show vloggers that are making everything out look like it's going to be so fucking amazing, and they're sleeping in their cars in between shows, or they're only making a few $100s, and they're telling younger guys that drop out of school to kind of do this stuff as well. That's the stuff that really pisses me off, because as soon as we have a down market like we're heading into now, like not card market, like the global financial market, how are you going to pay for your bills with your cards and all that sort of thing? There's so much of this talk around doing this sort of stuff when it's not anything tangible, right? Nobody gives a shit about cards unless you're a nerd like us, and that shit needs to be talked about a lot more than what we're actually seeing in this industry, because it's not good enough.
100%. And
Very
like we
dangerous.
said,
It's very
like we said,
dangerous. It's
it is.
very dangerous information, because the majority of people that are listening to this, I think, typically are people in the United States And, with a population of 330 or 340 million people, even if there's a tiny percentage of those people involved in this space and only a small percentage of those people listening to this information, a lot of people are going to listen to it and believe it. They're going to think it's true and factual.
So what Steve was saying about the beta Biden comment was, he was saying Americans are now a bunch of beta males, which means they're not your typical male that in history is defined as a male. They're sheep. He's pretty much saying they're sheep these days. They can't think for themselves. So yeah.
Can I just read you what you were saying about what some of these people have mentioned in the past? I screenshotted two things from ages ago. I just want to read these two things. Like this thing was on Twitter, right? It says here, founder and CEO of Alt XYZ official Leo Avadar believes that in 10 years, when the people buy homes, they won't buy with cash. They'll be buying with sports cards, sneakers, Birkin bags, or NFTs.
I remember seeing that.
He didn't say that, did he?
He did. He did say that. He did say that. He said that on Twitter.
Oh man, that's like real talk for a second, yeah. Like, and this is the point of doing this.
Give me a break.
Like, get together, real talk, talking about life and everything, yeah. Not to get into my personal life or any of our personal lives and stuff like that. But what you said before resonates perfectly in terms of like with these content creators showing you the high life and they're living in their cars and they can't do any of that stuff. Like,
look at that. Hey,
that's over in the States. I'm talking about here just in general. If we're talking Australians to Australians where you can resonate with us, if you've got a house and your interest rates have gone up and your mortgages have gone through the roof in the last six to 8 months because of inflation or interest rate rises and stuff like that, man, you can't afford to fucking quit your job and go filming card shows and think that the cards are going to be the be-all, end-all because... as Dan mentioned before,
there's only really one guy that does that, and that's like Matt Yuga, and he does a good job. And
but he's smart. He hasn't quit his job. He actually works. Like
he's osteopath or chiropractor.
But what I'm saying is, you got to have your head screwed on. Like a lot of the people in the market, in the US market, that's where it's big. We're talking US market because that's where the hobby's the biggest. They've gone all in on becoming a sports card or just a trading card influencer, like vlogging. What are you doing? It's just ridiculous. So it's scary, man. And
I just want to read the second thing that I screenshotted, right? This was from, I think, a couple of years ago too. This is probably one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life. Yeah.
Leo's an idiot, by the way, for that.
Like in quotation marks, cards were never considered an alternative asset class until the last 5 years. Golden says, people are looking at cards kind of like the next big biotech company. Johnny, the next big biotech company that actually cures diseases and helps people out.
Yeah. If it was a biotech company that was publicly traded, I could short it. Could I? Can I short these cards? No, I can't.
Yeah, well, you know what? I posted some shit on Instagram a couple of weeks ago. I was talking to a few smart guys in the United States. We were talking about possibly creating a platform like Betfair, right? And similar concept where, you can bet on a team to win. You can bet on a team to lose, have a ledger, both sides, and you can have a whole list of cards and you can basically bet on the price that these things are going to be, effectively meaning you can short and long them. So realistically, we could let's pluck one as an example, right? Luka Doncic Prism rookie card, right? However much it costs now, wouldn't have a clue. We could essentially make that a $3 card overnight, right? And let people play that, right? And we'll see how much these things really are investments when we make something go from $100,000 to $20 overnight. People would shit their pants.
100% they would.
And you can't just click a button and get out of it. You still got to find someone to find
Well, it's
the buyer
completely
and
efficient. It would be like
Yeah.
Betfair. You deposit, you back and lay, you get into a position for profit, you withdraw, it's in the money your next day. There's no tax, right? And it's completely efficient. Whereas this whole card stupid thing is completely inefficient. How long does it
That's why
take
you
to
go-
buy a card, send a card, ship a card, move a card, go to a show, blah,
That's
blah,
why you
blah.
buy, man. What are you talking about? That's why you go with Lure at Alt and you buy fractions in cards, mate.
Fuck.
You kidding me?
That's-
You don't need to
That's
ship,
why
you
that's
got
why you go to
fractions.
collectible. That's why you go to collect. Oh, sorry, collectible doesn't exist anymore.
James
James
man,
said-
getting on there.
What about Dibs? Oh no.
James said I'm betting on Empathy Elephant from V Friends.
Dude, you want to put that on? What should we call this thing? Card fair? Like Betfair. We'll call it card fair, and you guys can throw a whole heap of cards at us, and we'll list them, and we can short and long them. We could make Empathy the Elephant $1 million thing in an overnight as well.
This is a
Positive
good
says
comment.
during the day I invest in tech companies. At night I invest in sports cards.
Oh, that used to be the catch cry of that fucking Wilson dude, huh?
Yeah.
Does he
By
have
day-
it anymore?
By day, I
No, he
invest in
doesn't.
tech companies. By night, I swindle your money through cards.
Grift
Oh,
Wilson.
fuck.
What is with you and Shard Global? What is the matter with you tonight?
Card fair.
What is going on? Jeez. I hope that I'm teaching you that in your freaking real estate course.
You know what the funny thing is, guys, is we can sit here and have a laugh about all this stuff because we don't take it seriously.
Correct. That's yes.
Like our counterparts in America who are so serious about all this stuff and want to for the most part profit off all this shit. We talk about this stuff, we can have fun with it because that's what we're supposed to be doing with it.
I said I think I was saying it to you when I spoke to you during the week, Jay, or maybe it was you, Source. I can't remember. But I said that the card market ended up turning into the tangible version of the NFT market. That's all it was. It became that's it. It became the tangible. If you don't know what tangible means, it became the physical market. NFTs intangible. You can't touch it. So it literally
Touch it
became
on
the
the
tangible.
screen of my phone, you idiot.
You jackass. I could have gone bank loans forever. Westpac, Commonwealth Bank, everyone. Yeah.
Well,
Do you reckon
it was PwCC were heading out loans, right?
The difference is that we don't really live in like a full-on blown consumer society like the Yanks do. So if you live in a full-on consumer society, you're able to commoditize anything. I mean, look what they've done with this whole thing with cards. What did you say before? Tickets?
Yeah.
VHS tapes?
Stickers.
Yeah, video games, stickers.
What? Video games. I mean, fuck it. This stuff was designed to play. Same with music. Aren't there companies that like grade music?
Vinyl? They grade vinyl now.
Grade vinyl.
Fuck, if that's the case,
Steve
boys.
Aoki helped start that, I think, if I remember
How do
correctly.
you grade
hey.
vinyl? Fuck.
I'll tell you what. If that's the case,
I'm trying to look for my copy of Fiddler on the Roof. I mean, shit, man.
tell you what, vinyl's not my hobby, but it's my wife's. So
But
if
it's
that's the
designed
case,
to be. It's designed to be.
I'm pumping it.
listened to.
But that's such a weird medium. It's the same thing with VHS, right? Like they're printed fucking everywhere. So how are you gonna regulate it? All that kind of. It's dumb, and people fall for it, which is ridiculous.
You can rewrap all that stuff.
Yeah.
You can buy on Alibaba, right? You can buy on
Yeah.
Alibaba blank PSA slabs, and if you've got
Yeah.
a sonic sealer, you can put anything in it and seal it up. You can buy BGS slab. You can even buy Panini, the plastic wrap on Alibaba.
oh, that's where we can get the
So
double
who's to
coverage
say
wrap
any of
from.
this? Who's to say
Get
any
the
of
double
this stuff
coverage
that's
wrap, which will
apparently?
authenticate all your boxes.
Oh my god, this is the dumbest shit,
Yeah, that's another fucking scam. BBC, don't get me started on them.
dude. It's
So you were
it's
saying
all
before,
this
Dan.
stuff.
Dan was saying you were saying before you had a thought on PwCC. You were about to.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure weren't they handing out loans? Weren't they handing out loans on your cards? You'd drop off cards to them, they'd give you money for them for you to go spend
Who?
elsewhere. PwCC.
PwCC. I heard
Yeah,
that
they had a
too.
loan program.
Yeah.
But they also
I don't
had a
know
program. They also had a program where you could actually lend them money, and they would give you 9%, sometimes more, on the money that you loaned them. Right?
Yeah.
I actually spoke to someone from there probably a year ago because I was going to lend them money at 9%, right? Which you could essentially say was risk-free, right? 9% is a pretty good return if it's risk-free, right? And there were a lot of people that it was risk-free. A lot of people did really well out of that because that's where the money had to come from. They had to keep regurgitating, put in, put out, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, I had a meeting with my accountant and lawyer, and I told them about this whole thing, and they basically looked at me and they said, "You're fucking mad." No.
So the crazy thing about this PWCC loan thing was one of the customers was like a 13-year-old kid that they gave the fucking loan to, which is like crazy. I don't know how they got away with that with, banking regulations and all that sort of stuff. But
I saw that video.
That shows you where the mindset is in that industry, right? Where they're giving fucking kids hundreds of thousands of dollars in loans. Like that's mental.
Yeah, but what do you mean? He opens up his showcase and he's got $1.5 million worth of cards. So who cares, mate? He's got enough. He's got assets, mate. They're investments, bro. They're investments. He's got assets.
There you go.
Right in his face, right there.
James wants to know what happened to investor grift. He was loaning dollars on cards.
Didn't we talk about that 3 weeks ago?
Yeah, we did. I know that gets you so pumped up, so that's why. But it's very funny. Positive said, grade the family cat next. Card experience said, I appreciated NFTs because it helped me weed out people not to trust in the hobby. Yeah, that's a good point.
But they're all the same. Like they all fucking did it. That's the thing, right? There was, I shouldn't say all, but like most of them, all these people now that are spruiking you other bullshit were doing all this stuff 6 months ago, 12 months ago, 18 months ago, and people forget. And the reason why they forget is because so many of them are on the grift at the same time. They all want to be part of the gang. Like they're all part of it. They all pretend it's not happening, and they all want to be in on it, and they want to fuck over the next guy. And that's the really annoying thing.
Top Shot at one point.
Yeah, Top Shot. Yeah.
Well, it's crazy to go back and see what people were talking about 2 years ago, 18 months ago, and they're not talking about it now. And
we interviewed a guy that bought the most expensive Top Shot LeBron moment for like $258,000 when I can just go on YouTube and type in that LeBron moment and watch it on replay and go to a YouTube downloader on Google and download it myself and just have it on my hard drive.
I've seen that guy at Centrelink every Tuesday. Yeah.
It's like sad to see so many people bought into that shit. Like it's sad to me.
Like I said, Dan, there's enough people over there, right? The population's so large and enough people to believe this shit, right? You only need a small percentage of people to get sucked in by it. And that's exactly what happened.
And not to say we didn't buy into NFTs, Source and I. We did. We supported someone that started their own NFT and stuff like that. So I'm not saying we didn't do it.
Well, like, there's nothing wrong with doing those, like the things that people like supporting a business and all that sort of thing and wanting to talk up a sponsor. That's all fine to do, but you got to like do your research beforehand. And the way some of these guys moved was they knew shit wasn't good and they still pushed it on people. That's the problem, right? If you believe in something and you're happy to say, okay, I pushed this thing, I fucked up, I shouldn't have done it. Like, sorry guys, that's fine. But what these guys did was they took the money. Maybe didn't always tell you they were taking the money. They knew better, right? Because they're successful businessmen. They knew fucking better, and they still pushed it on you as an individual because they didn't give a fuck. They wanted your money. They don't care, and not many people can see through that, unfortunately.
There's someone in the chat called The Card Experience, and he's written P in PWCC stands for pyramid. He's sort of on the money. I think PWCC stands for press, wash, cut, collect. Isn't that?
You know, PWCC, speaking of them, they still don't require proof of identity for you to bid on cards. That is, again, one of the craziest things in this hobby that people don't even talk about. You can make a fake account, go on there and shill bid and have fun, pump up your cards all you want and go for gold.
It's actually ridiculous. That's actually ridiculous.
People still use them.
Oh, here we go. Who is that, by the way? Before you...
Mathis over here.
David Wood was just sitting on my.
He's fixing it up.
Hey, I collect David Wood, man.
He's just
There
cleaned
you
up
go,
his PSA 10 it for you.
Yeah, there you go, PSA 10. If you cut the other side, it'll get a BGS black label.
Well, I suppose if you know the right people, you probably could get a black label.
Well, the account that I used to go to help me out shut down, so I can't actually go and ask one anymore to help me out with BBC.
Where is Juanito? Where's he
BGS.
He's watching
He's
this
off
from
in
Melbourne.
he's off in Panama.
I can guarantee you, he
Yeah.
potentially could be watching this, or watch it,
No,
or
I
listen
think
to it.
he's got other things to worry about right now. He probably hasn't slept in a week.
Yeah, that's true. He's probably
Again,
hiding
all
on.
speculation and innuendo.
Yes.
He's on.
Leave the
he's
bloke
on,
alone. Nah, leave the bloke alone. Who knows? You know what? This sort of stuff, we don't know what it actually can possibly do to people. And you know what? It can cause fucking depression, anxiety, all this sort of thing. Can you imagine like this individual was found and he committed suicide and left the note, and it was because of bullying and harassment and all this sort of thing, right? Leave this thing for the authorities, leave it for the experts, leave it for proper investigators, and everyone else's opinion is invalid unless it's actually directly affected you.
Just one thing
fair
on that,
enough.
Jay, right? Because I completely agree, but I can understand where people are coming from just based on how the person that runs that account went after people on social media, and they were so quick to bully people, squash their voice, ruin their businesses, where they had clear agendas to do so, right? This account wasn't necessarily
They tried to bully one of our mates. They tried to bully one of our mates and turn us against our mate.
But I think that's where the anger's coming from, Jay. It's because this it's one of those like self-reflection moments, right? Where you're basically doing to them what they did to you, so you need to do a bit better, right? But that's why people are reacting the way they are, because of all the shit that this account did, the way they talked to people, treated people.
In terms of this situation, I do agree with what you're saying.
You know who's
leave
laughing?
it open to
You know who's laughing at the moment? All these other crooks that are doing whatever it is that they're doing, this real shit stuff. Everything's being deflected now onto someone else or whatever. So the real crooks are all sitting behind there laughing.
What did you call him? He's the patsy. He's the patsy, isn't he?
Yeah.
Who knows?
Somebody did a story the other day. I don't remember which account it was, but they said this is like the greatest scam to ever happen to game news memorabilia. And I basically replied and said, it's not, because it got caught within 4 weeks. There's been stuff happening for decades that you don't even know about. There's guys that have made $1 million off the back of this industry. So it's far from being the worst ever, because the worst ever hasn't been caught yet.
There's an old saying, in regards to like men who cheat on their wives, it's only cheating if you get caught.
Yeah.
Okay. So as you just said, there would be a lot of shit that's gone down in the past that's just completely 100%. Flown under the radar, right? And people haven't caught on to that.
This shit was right. This shit was rife in the hobby, like for card stuff, before they got pumped up from 1 cent cards to freaking $100,000, like in value. It was always happening, trimming cards and fake cards and fake slabs and fake autos and fake authentication and it like fake PSA slabs. Don't buy the old PSA slab because it's easier to fake than the new PSA slab. It's been happening for decades. And the kingpin, who's got his TV show, unfortunately, is numero uno as one of the biggest grifters of all time in this hobby. But due to recency bias, people don't go back and look at the history of that one person. Not going to mention who he is. He's got his own TV show, so put the freaking connect the dots. Like, he's been a part of that many grifts in his whole life. It's ridiculous, and he's one of the most trusted people in the space when it comes to brainwashed collectors.
Doesn't that say a lot about this whole?
Yeah, it's so sad. It's
like most markets and most industries. They're almost always led by the people that have done the worst deeds, right? So, like the comment earlier with Multiverse basically saying the hobby's really negative now. There's not much fun in it. Like the sooner you realize that everybody's in on the same scheme, everybody's doing bad shit, and you can just focus in on your mates, your cards, and have fun, the more fun you'll have, right? Because
100%.
They've all done dodgy shit. They've all basically got to where they are because of it, and that is probably too much of a catch-all, but that's the best position to take because the hobby is fun, right? Especially the people you interact with, collecting cards of the players you like and all that sort of thing. It makes life a lot more fun, helps you de-stress. But these businesses they're all one and the same. No, you're a fool to think they're any different. And it goes back to the whole Fanatics and Panini thing. You're a fool if you think Fanatics is going to be a million times better than what Panini is, because they'll come in, they've got no challenge. It's going to be more of the same thing, and then people are going to be like, "Well, fuck, maybe Panini wasn't too bad," or "Fuck, maybe Fanatics is not too different." Well, the thing you need to remember is just have fun. That's the only thing I can say.
That's exactly right. Listen to podcasts, have a laugh, like get to know people, and like this is where we're lucky ourselves. Like everyone that listens to, commenting in the chat, we've met most of you. We've had dialogue with most of you. We've got group chats with people that are like-minded in the hobby and always talking and having a chat, not even just about cards, about life and sport. And like we've been able to obviously connect with yourself, Dan, in the last year or so. And that's been awesome. We've known Jay for the last year and a half, almost 2 years. And that's been fantastic also. It's just like those moments are the best. And when people actually ask me personally, what do you collect? What do you collect? I just said, man, like I collect anything and everything. Like whatever I like, I just buy it. Like if it looks nice to me, I just buy it. I'm not out there. I'm not into buying $1,000 cards. I think my most expensive card, to be honest, like probably like $200. And due to unpopular opinion, it's a Cristiano Ronaldo card. So not many people are going to be happy with that.
It's worthless now.
Yeah, it's worthless apparently. So
he's retired, mate.
Yeah,
Plays in the Saudi league.
Shut up, Source.
Behind me, you can see all my collectibles and stuff. I don't have that many expensive cards. I think the most expensive one is the flawless Andrea Pirlo that I picked up recently. That cost me $1,000. But I've always had a hard time putting price tags on cards because they're just pieces of cardboard, right? If I could sell that card for $1 million today, I would, right?
100%.
Sorry, guys, I just went to submit my cat to get graded.
No worries, Jay. Adam said, do you guys think we are mostly immune to all the hobby hanky-panky because we are in Australia and in our own bubble, or do these dramas affect the hobby worldwide? I think we are kind of like immune to that stuff, but when it comes to the market and the value of cards, it definitely affects worldwide because everyone goes and looks at 130 Point, for example, and they'll look at Cardladder and all these places to get comps on things, and that's set by the trend is set by the last comp, which is usually sold within the United States. So, yeah.
There are businesses here that have done some dodgy things too that I won't talk to now, but
I was gonna say I wouldn't feel that just because we're in Australia, you're not prone to dodgy people or dodgy business practices, or
it's just a lot smaller because the community's smaller. But I mean, look, we have a scammers page here, and maybe like once a week, there's something put on there, right?
Yeah. Australian
as opposed to the American, there's two big American ones. There's like 50 posts a day.
Yeah, if more like a minute. Yeah,
50 posts a minute. Okay, there you go. I know. I think we're pretty fortunate in this country. I mean, there's a very small community, and I think a lot of it's more collector based. And I think people are a lot kinder and nicer to each other and respect each other a lot more. You know?
It's a lot harder to hide here too if something was to go down, right? And like you said, we are very collector focused. Every time I have a conversation with someone from the States or I'm on their like one of their videos or something like that, they're always shocked to hear how much Aussies actually love sport and actually are collectors.
That's because they live in their own fucking bubble. Most of these, mate, like I think the statistics like 31% of Americans or even less have a passport. These people don't travel, they don't leave their own country. They live in their own bubble. They live in their own space. Not familiar with what goes on worldwide. So it's no shock when you mention what you mentioned, Dan, right? That they're shocked to hear that, we're a sport-loving nation and all of this. I mean, fuck, we're the greatest and biggest sport-loving nation in the world.
I think outside of the United States, obviously, correct me if I'm wrong, can be fact-checked on this, but last time I heard this fact, like this fun fact, it was outside the United States per capita, Australia is the biggest consumer of the National Football League outside of the country that it's homegrown in. Like That's how fanatical we are about sports. Where it doesn't matter. Like they don't know what AFL football is, but we know what NFL football is. And to be the second
no one
largest
knows what
consumer,
AFL is outside of Melbourne.
Yeah, it's true. But the funny thing
I had
is,
to-
But argue the same
Melbourne.
thing about Funby, Daniel.
Hey,
You
that's
know
a
what
team
I
in New
mean?
Zealand, mate. There's a team in New Zealand.
The funny thing about that is like Melburnians know about the NRL because we're
Yeah.
We have
we are
a
like
very
Victoria's
successful
Vic-
team.
yeah,
Our
Victor-
team's won more premierships
That
in a
shit-
limited
yeah,
amount of
Don't fucking start me
time
on that
defending a
team.
league
Please
than
don't
Daniel's
start me on that team.
Parramatta Eels.
Because we had that
Cheating
extra
pricks.
dollar.
Cheating pricks.
Extra
Oh,
dollar.
fuck.
Hey, it got stripped.
Oh.
Got stripped.
Yeah, it didn't get given to fuck. It did got. Oh, don't start me. I'm not going to start.
They should change the name to Parramatta Lemons.
They should. They're the right
Look at the
colour.
colours.
The right fucking
Even
colour.
when we got under the salary cap, we still ended up winning one. So it just proved nothing that we were still good enough. So we still would have won regardless. whether
Don't
we were
start me,
under-
please.
Hey, couple of
soft
envelopes, couple of envelopes for a couple of game day appearances isn't too bad. Game day,
Yeah, no.
game day. What was it? What were they saying? There was for a some sort of event that they were
Yeah,
were
some
paid
like
to attend or
sponsor event. Yeah, that they didn't even attend. Boats in their
Oh.
driveways. Fuck.
Robert Gallo says, I wish I could afford to travel outside this country. From the States, I'm assuming. Card Experience says, we're the world champs in sports support. Positive, sport is life. And Matty Cam said, everyone loves a free boat.
There's a lot of collectors in the States, but they've basically been swallowed up by this new crowd that's come in over the last 2 to 3 years. Like Steve Splendor, I'm not sure if he's in the chat anymore. He's been going to card shows for a long time. He hangs out with Neo Cards and Comics. I'm not sure if you've seen his channel before.
Yep.
But they've been going to shows for a long time. They talk about going to shows with their dad. So there's like, and I know that's just one example, but he tells me stories about what it was like back then and seeing what it's like now. It's chalk and cheese compared to where it was. Whereas I think here in Australia, we haven't even got close to anything like that yet. You go to the hobby hangout, it's still mostly collectors with overpriced shit in their tables, right? And
The closest thing I think potentially, like I'm talking obviously Victorian based here now in Australia, is I know a lot of people that collected AFL cards ages ago, and they can't actually comprehend. Like they're middle-aged now, middle-aged guys. They've been collecting for decades, and they just can't comprehend like the new sets coming out from Select and being worth so much money, and then the cards within those sets being worth even more. They just can't, because a lot of them are like set collectors and stuff like that, and they just actually can't comprehend going out there and wanting to buy Select. What's the new gem? To buy a Select gem, for example, just to collect Richmond guys, but they're like, oh, what, 6 cards and I've got to pay $700 a box or whatever it is. Like they can't comprehend that. Like they struggle for it. So it does happen a bit in terms of like this new wave of people getting in the hobby, the younger crowd and other people coming back in that stopped collecting for years. And a lot of it is driven by money, but because we're such a smaller bubble compared to what there is in the States.
Not only that, Doma, but we live in a good country where we get looked after here. You know, this whole concept of like, you know, you see the Americans like use the words very frequently, hustle, grind, side hustle, all this sort of shit, right? Like most people in this country don't have to do that. They typically work one job, one profession, get paid well, have a good life, enjoy their life. You guys know we get looked after here. You want to work, you get money. You don't want to work, you get money. Everything's free. Healthcare, this. We don't have to, you know, we don't have to try and extract the most out of it, you know? And I think that's where like a lot of it, you know, all of this shit came into it too, you know? Those people, they commoditized it, like I said earlier.
Hang on. This is what we'll just say. Agreed, the American collector has been muted. This is from Steve Splendor because of Gary V cult of flipping influences. It's a fair point.
That's a fair point.
Yeah, it's crazy. Just a few more. we'll start wrapping it up. But I
No
just got
wrapping.
one.
We're just, mate, we're just getting warm.
Well, you want to
the
keep
dudes in
going?
the
I don't
chat
know.
are-
What's your time like? I could go for another 4 hours.
I've got heaps of time. I'm going to
Okay.
start pumping new shit. Look at this. This is
We're
my
pump-
fucking Stephen Kernahan. When's this from?
What's that?
1997. My Carlton
Is that a-
membership. Do you reckon we can start grading these?
Hmm.
I think
Yes,
they already
you
do.
can.
They already do.
People
They already
do.
do.
I already
What,
do.
these?
Memberships, yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah, you're a bit slow, mate. You've missed
Really?
the boat.
Who does that?
PSA. BGS.
This stuff, like old fucking... That's 2023, mate. You can throw that garbage in the bin.
It's I know I will because it is
Dude,
worthless.
Look at this.
Curtis
Can
Taylor's
I get
on
this
the top of it,
authenticate?
yeah.
What is it called? May grade? Look at this. Game
Game punch.
issued. What do you call it?
And they used to punch.
Game
the-
punch. Yeah, game punch. That's it.
What tongue punch? What?
How good were the days, Drew, when we used to go to the footy and take our memberships and the old mate would be there punching the
Clipping
thing.
it. Clip it. Yeah.
No,
He'd
mine
clip
was
it,
always
and
on
then-
plastic.
And then you'd get the part, you'd go and get the pass out with the card, you'd give it to your mate, and then your mate would come into the ground for free.
We did that at a Wanderers game in the first season. We used one ticket to get 8 people in.
I still do that at Avondale games in the NPL. Don't worry.
We used one ticket to get 8 people in. I was the last one to get into. I was fucking nervous, but we got there in the end.
How about these? Can you grade? Look at this. AFL full membership, 1995.
You can grade anything you
Look at
want,
these.
Jay.
I've got a whole butler, mate. I've got like 20 years worth.
Oh, you're ready to corner the market.
Oh, if
Yeah,
we're,
one of
if
them
we're
are.
talking about pumping anything, I want to pump vinyls like you mentioned before. Can we get that going? What do we have to
Mate,
do?
Steve
this
Aoki's
one.
already doing it.
Done. I'll hit him up. I'll grade some of the ones we
If
got.
they're
and I'll be,
older, if they got more provenance, do you get more for them?
well, if you got the member 0001
Mate, how about this? Can I grade, mate, this is an original
tab
Tabaret
card.
Mate, remember these you put into the machine when Tabaret first started?
Jeez.
Yeah, I know. How cool, huh?
No, mate, because I was probably not around then.
No,
They
I
were
remember.
blind.
I remember it because I was like a kid, but I do remember that
degenerate.
card. I was a kid. I was 5. Damn,
And
gambling
he
on
was
the
on the
slots.
slaps. And he was on the slaps at 5 years old.
Oh man. Global said, "Did you see the cards I sent you, Doma?" Nah, I haven't seen. Were they sent
Yeah,
to you, Source? I don't know.
Yes, they're on the Mail Day video. So if you watch the Mail Day video, you'll see them, the latest Mail Day video.
Well, if you tell me there's a Mail Day video, I'll pump it up. I don't even know we've got a Mail Day video. That's how.
Oh, mate,
well,
don't you check the latest posts.
Okay, one more. Doma, tell me if that, remember that?
VFL Park.
This stuff I don't remember.
You never went to VFL Park?
No,
Waverley. Waverley.
Glenn Waverley. No.
Not
What
Glenn
year-
Waverley. Waverley.
What year was
football.
that? What year was that, Jay?
89.
When did Waverley close down? Like, I don't know, probably.
Yeah, what
20
year was
years.
that, Jay? Tell me what year it
Let's
was.
Google it.
I have no idea because it's not on the card.
Let's see. I'll Google it for you, mate. I'll it.
Google. Don't you remember? You never went to games at Waverley.
It's
That's
final
where the last
AFL
Fitz-
game was in 99.
It's where the last Fitzroy game
99.
was.
99 was
You
his
would
last
old,
game.
You'd
Jay.
have been
I
6
never
years
went.
old, mate.
Adam Smith. How old is Jay? Trip down there. Jay, I'm going to be
What did he-
49 in October, Jay.
Don't
Born
forget
in
Jay was born in
1939.
1939.
What did you...
Positive said, don't forget Jay was born in 1939.
I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
It's not coming up.
But
1930,
tickets are like I think tickets are cool. Like if you've been to a game that was important to you or to you as a sporting fan, I can understand maybe you wanting to get it signed or slabbed, put in your man cave. But the way it gets pumped is the same thing with sports cards, where it's people that don't give two fucks about what they're
Anyone
giving
want
you.
to buy a Luka Doncic 101? Look at this sick thing. Look at that. Prism, Luka Doncic 101.
Could be worth
It's
something.
not fat enough, mate.
He's not smoking a hookah pipe, so no, I don't want it.
You
Who
guys
could
are
have done?
boring.
Where's your Paddy Mahomes 101?
It's in the box.
What, a shoebox?
Of course, it's in the shoebox. Where do you think it is? Like next to my other investments.
It should be in a bank vault.
With the portfolio, the bank vault. That's one of the funniest things. I saw this guy. This guy made a post the other day on Facebook, and he's like, "What do you guys do to insure your collection?" And there were a few legitimate responses. They were talking about some American company called Collect Insure, which people use. And then the 3 or 4 guys are like, "Oh, I don't insure it. It sits in the bank vault." Huh?
Bank's got insurance, you would hope.
Why the fuck would you buy this shit if it sits in a fucking bank vault?
Global said, I was at the St Kilda versus Essendon at Waverley when the lights went out and the spectators burnt the stands and ripped out the goalposts.
That was a great night. I remember that. That was
It was a real great night.
I think I might have been there at that game.
When the lights went out?
Yes.
I remember the last
there.
Fitzroy game. The last Fitzroy game before they became the Brisbane Lions. And at the end of the game, everyone was running onto the ground, throwing their jumpers, burning it in the middle of the thing. People were pretty disgruntled. It was quite a spectacle.
Card experience. Oh, this is.
We should do that with cards. We should have. You know how they used to do book burnings like in the pagan days. That's what we should do.
Card experience said, "Don't worry about insurance. What do you do with your collection when you die?"
Well, you don't have a collection when you die. You sell all that shit and get fucking rid of it.
But it could happen tomorrow, for example. And
what could happen tomorrow?
You've got bank vaults stacked to the ceiling full of cards, and
oh my God, these
you think they could be worth $25 trillion in 10 years.
They're not going to be worth 25 grains of sand. That's about all it'll be worth.
Good morning, Paul.
Like sand through the hourglass. This guy's
some of the
best
days of our collecting.
This positive guy's the best. He's got the best one-liners.
Days of our lives. Yeah, Jay, I've got one for you. There's a wild card taco fractor. Have you heard of this?
Who?
A wild card taco, like tacos that you eat, fractor to 5 from the new Cosmic Chrome Topps baseball set. So you haven't heard of this? It's a wild card. No one knows what it gets you. It's like a redemption card. It's in the set. It's numbered to 5. It's got tacos on it. I'm going to bring it up. Can you guess what it's sold for without looking down below?
Show me a picture of it.
No, what do you think it's sold for?
What's Cosmic? What sport is that?
Baseball
taco card.
And it's called Cosmic Chrome Taco.
Cosmic Chrome Taco variant.
25 bucks.
It's sold for $11,300 US. That's the card.
Ah, bullshit. What a load of rubbish. Really? Sold where?
There it is. I always like going onto the
I'll get out of here.
I think it's sold on eBay. It's got a.
Look at the first comment.
You win something with it.
Look at the first comment. Back to the cards with the laughing faces. I know him. His name's Brandon. Hey, Brandon, you're a legend. No, he's laughing. They're all laughing.
Orange Bowman said it's supposedly He said it's supposedly going to be an all-inclusive to the international game in Mexico next year. Who knows how true that is?
Right, so someone's bought a card for $11,000 with a picture of 4 fucking tacos, and no one knows what it is.
Bobby says,
you don't know
I feel
what
like
it gets you.
Bobby said,
it could get you a Stephen Kernahan punch card. Like, nobody knows.
I can get you a graded.
People are such fucking idiots. Dude, you can just make all of this shit up. Who bought this? Show me the bank transfer.
I don't know who it is.
Ah, get out of it.
It's verified on Cardladder, bro. It's all good, man.
Get lost.
So you're not
you know what's verified? When you look at the Australian Stock Exchange and you look at the prices at the end of the day, It's something that's regulated by a regulatory body.
Here's
Give
another
me a
one for
break.
you. I'm going to bring
Verified
it
by
up.
this company, that company. What a load of hogwash. Who believes
gonna-
that nonsense?
I'm going to bring this one up. This is
Give me a
interesting.
break.
Like, I don't know, verified sale, whether it's not. I just see it and I just laugh when I see this shit. I thought he had it on his page.
Positives just said that the Big Mac version of that card must be 25 grand.
I think it was Andy's Toy Story that posted it. Yeah, it is. I don't know
How
how
many
I can
guys?
do this.
How many dudes you got in the chat? You've been going for 2 hours. Like, how many people are there? They must be entertained still.
20 over 20,
People in the
23
chat, watching or in the chat. How do you
watching. I don't know how many people are active in the chat. So, you know that Woolworths at the moment is doing a Disney 100 set when you buy your groceries.
I've got that set over here actually.
Have you? You got
Yeah.
the set. You
Have
got
you
the
completed the set?
you
I'm
got the
sure you
chase
do.
card?
There's
I'm missing 4
85 billion
cards.
of them made.
Are you
Everyone's
missing?
got
Are you
one.
missing? Are you missing the number to 29?
I'm missing
the
this.
29
I'm missing.
Walt Disney.
I'm missing that one. Yeah, that's the only one I'm missing.
So
Yeah.
Jay, this card. Do you know about this? The Woolworths cards.
No.
So you know how you go in the Woolworths, you spend $30, and every $30 you spend, you get a pack of cards that has these Disney cards in there. I think there's 3 cards per pack or 4 cards per pack, and they're Disney 100 special 100 Years of Wonder set.
Mhm.
Well,
Okay.
Jay,
There's a chase
There's a
card
card-
in there. You
there's
know
a
how
big
like the
chase card in
Ushies?
there.
You remember like those Ushies? There's like these fucking gold Ushies. This the rare
Yeah, I
ones.
remember all the Coles and Woolworths sets, and
This
you
is
spend
what they look
money and
like.
you get a.
There you go. Dan's got
There you
it.
go.
There's the
yeah,
set.
got it. There's the
Oh,
set.
This is the chase card from
That's
that
cute.
set.
Where?
I'll bring it up. It's a story, so I need to just get back to it. Oh, for fuck's sakes. Andy's a friend of ours, so he's just put this up on his story.
I've met him. He's a nice guy.
Pretty sure.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
He's a really lovely
go.
guy.
There you go. So this is the chase card from a Woolworths packet of cards, Jay. It sold for $2,900.
No, it didn't. No one paid.
It says sold.
One of them
What
got
a load
relisted.
of hogwash. Dude, if someone's actually paid for that, right, they've bought it from their mate and sent them the money back and eaten up the fees to provide some stupid comp. So the next lemon looks at it and goes, oh, that's what it is. I'm going to pay $2,900 for some fucking stupid Walt Disney thing, right, with Mickey Mouse that looks like he's an axe murderer.
There's only 100 of them made, apparently.
The top one actually did sell.
Okay, let me tell you one thing. I know 2 people that manufacture cards. Okay, one of them manufactures cards in Australia. It doesn't matter what company, but they manufacture them. And I know someone in the United States. Okay, when you make cards, whether it's 100 or a gold to 10, you can't just make 10 cards, and you can't just make 100 cards, right? You have to make much more. The sheets are much bigger, so there's definitely more than 100 of these that exist. All right. So when you see all these numbers, 100 to 50, bullshit, right? There's fucking multiple. They give them out to their friends. It's mate. This is all rigged.
I still can't get over the fact that you
Bullshit.
said. I still can't get over the fact you said that Mickey Mouse looked like an axe murderer.
Look at him. It's not the like. Where's his mouth? It looks like one of those like macabre characters from like the 1930s that they used to use to scare children. Yeah, like, who produces a card like this? Like, look at Walt Disney. Mate, that guy's got a sketch. That guy's got a sketchy history than Charles Manson. Look at him, fucking prick.
Not a fan.
So that one sold for $1,300, and that person did pay. It was on. It's on
Bullshit.
Terapeak.
No
It's on
one
Terapeak.
paid.
It doesn't show up on Terapeak until you pay. If you didn't know that, fun fact.
what a
There you
load
go.
of
Got
hogwash.
paid for $1,300. So if you go on
There
at
you go,
Woolworths,
Jay.
make sure you get them, rip them open, and if you get lucky that you hit one of those
Johnny, have you got
100
your-
Walt
have you-
Disney cards that are there, you
Have you got your
consult-
lemon on you? Have you got your lemon? Because I'll tell you what, you award it to that guy who bought that shit.
You, sir, are a lemon.
Matty Tabe said that you sound like a disgruntled grandpa on the porch, Jay, talking about this card. It's
Manson
the PM.
Mouse.
Brett said it's the PMG of Woolworths cards.
What PMG? What the fuck is that?
The Walt Disney card, Jay. You fucking
PMG. Pull my grandpa.
Oh fuck.
PMG. What a lot more bullshit.
Adam says I have 200 Woolies packs here. Should I hold them long term?
No, Adam, give them out to kids, give them out to parents, let them enjoy it.
Yeah,
What
so
the
we-
hell are
we-
you on about? Rip every single one of them.
That's a lot of chicken nuggets. Is positive. Sorry, Dan. What was that?
I was just saying we built the set for my daughter. She's only 18 months old, so we built it for her, then gave the rest away to kids. But I'm not gonna lie, I wouldn't mind selling that card for $3,000. That's for sure.
This guy's written precious mental grandpa. Speaking of this PMG shit, how about like the pump on all of that crap? PMG. I mean, give me a fucking break. No one gave a fuck about that shit 15 years ago.
One
And
of the
suddenly
biggest.
it's that and all that rubbish from the 90s. Suddenly, like, this is all important.
The Marvel shit was unbelievable on the PMGs. The way that they were just selling at astronomical prices. It was just absurd.
Mate, it's the same junk. It's all buyers groups, cook groups, Discord groups. It's the same, dude. It's the same guys involved in all this bullshit.
Were yourselves? Were you and Jay and Dan? Were you ever on Clubhouse?
No.
The app during. So we were on Clubhouse a fair bit, and we were in a card group with some elite people in the hobby. I'm not going to mention who some of them are. And we were on one night. We used to do a pre-pod. We just created a room, and Sauce and I used to just be on there, and people that we actually knew in the space would come on, and they were from the States, and it was really good. We could talk to them without like having to call them. That's the premise of it. You just come into the room. It's a bit like this forum. They just jump in, and we just have voice chats. Card experience in Clubhouse or Penthouse.
That Penthouse sounds more fun.
But this one person came in, and Saucy and I have tried to find the person's account. He probably doesn't have it anymore. He's probably deactivated it. But he came on and told us about his submission of PSA before they raised the prices on per card grading. And he sent in, what was it, Sauce? Like 200, was it 200 PMGs he had for grading or something stupid like that? I think it was 200 PMGs.
He had a lot. Yeah.
We said 200 cards.
Of which? Of basketball ones?
Marvel PMGs. And this was 3 months before they got pumped to the moon. So we were like, we never could contact him again. We were just thinking to us, imagine he got them back. Half those cards were probably his that were on the auction house. Like, it's unbelievable.
Well, you'd have to assume that somebody that had 200 of something bought them for a reason. They didn't just own them when they came out. They purposely went and bought them. Why would someone need to own 200 of something?
Exactly. Because they knew something was coming, that's why. Investment,
Jay, to sell them.
Insider trading at its finest.
What cards do you like, Jay? Asked Matty Tabe.
Anything anything that has like good aesthetics. I don't care whether it's, I don't know, old or new, or all right, if it looks cool, it looks cool. If it's $1 or whether it's, $1 million, doesn't make any difference. If I like it and it looks cool, I like it.
Yourself, Dan?
What do I collect? Is that what it was? I was daydreaming for a second.
What do you like? What cards do you like?
To be honest, everything. I buy anything and everything, to be honest. Dragon Ball Z cards, I'm pretty big on. Flawless Soccer is probably the most expensive stuff that I have, but even then it's dirt cheap, right? So I don't really go after the expensive stuff. It's more so like Jay said, if it looks cool, I'll buy it.
Awesome. Vinny says,
Can I just say, I bought a card. Well, I didn't buy a card. I did a trade for a T-shirt with a guy, and it's a Ratatouille card. right? Ratatouille, the animated movie, which I really love, and I used to watch with my kids and still do, like once a year. It's a bit of a tradition. And this dude had it, and I really liked it. And it was actually a BGS Black Label, and it just looked cool in that particular thing. So anyway, we did a trade and for T-shirt for the card. So yeah, like I said, it doesn't have to be expensive. It doesn't have to be anything. Like if it's just cool and you like it, you get it.
Card Experience says NFL downtowns are the latest pump, and Global asked, "What's your thoughts on kabooms?" You can pretty much.
What's whose thoughts?
Our thoughts.
Who? Okay, who's starting? Johnny.
Kaboom.
Yeah.
Well, look, how many kabooms are they going to create, mate?
They're going to make them every year, don't they?
They make them every year. So, kabooms every year. You times that by X amount of years. They're not numbered. Who knows how many are?
They are numbered. No,
they're super. They're super short printed.
No, the gold ones. The gold ones are numbered to 10.
The gold ones are numbered.
Yeah, the gold ones.
But the green ones are 101. But who gives a shit? They make them every year. But this just goes along with the whole narrative of all this crap. This is the first year of this, rookie of this. Who cares? People are so fixated on all this stuff. Oh, but it's a rookie card. Who gives a shit? It's all the same crap.
It depends on which rookie card you want to pump.
I don't care. Yeah, well, exactly. Exactly. Dude, it's all the same crap. We said this last time when I spoke. It's all mass-produced. I don't care what it is, mate. It's all 101, 5 of 5, 10 of 10.
Fine art, mate. Don't you know, mate? I should be hanging that card up right next to my Rembrandt 1 of 1, right next to it. All right.
Look, I'll tell you one thing. I'll tell you one thing. Claude Monet didn't make his paintings to 5 to 10 to 25. He made one, and that's what makes these things so fucking awesome and precious. One of these things exists. So I don't want to hear any of these fucking idiots comparing any sort of fine art to trading cards. We've gone over this before. Some moron was talking about all this shit when they were talking about cleaning cards, right? There was a post 2 weeks ago. And people were saying, oh, well, it's okay that in the fine art world, you can, what was the word they used? Not alter. Daniel, can you help me out here? What was the word they said? Not alter a painting.
Hey. Oh, I'm just going to get Ari.
Hi, Mrs. Ass Messiah. Ask Messiah.
You told all those people.
Yeah, and they're all live. So anyone here watching you.
What? Oh my god.
Yeah. Hi, Angie.
Oh, sorry,
not like not refurbish. What was the word? Oh,
replenish?
Conservation? Maybe conservation.
Yeah, it was conservation. Yeah.
You can't compare art conservation to.
Yeah, no, it's retarded. Yeah,
it's retarded. I mean, firstly, all of that stuff's it's all documented, right? Yeah. What else can I say?
Yeah, but it's
you're telling me the guy who trimmed his car didn't document it? Shock.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, shock horror.
Global's lost the plot.
Honestly, Dom, we're gonna lose the plot.
Can we do this next time? You know what? Can we do this next time and let's get one of our American friends on. Maybe they'll feel like more comfortable being with us, knowing that like we have fun with all this stuff and enjoy it. And
yes,
let's get Wilson. Let's get Wilson and have a bit of fun.
Oh fuck! You won't come on this. Would he? You reckon?
Probably.
Why not? Have a bit of fun. Have a bit of fun with the guy. Show that there's another side to him, right? Have a bit of fun.
Yeah, it'll last all the 5 seconds when Saucy yells out "Hello, Sports Card Le Mans" straight to his face. It won't last very long with him. So anyway, we will wrap it up. There are a few other comments in here, but we're running on 2 hours and 15 minutes. So firstly, thank you. This is the first time we've done this. Hopefully, we can do it a few more times and everyone enjoyed it.
Who's Brit S?
He's from South Australia, Brett.
Speedy recovery, buddy.
Get Splendor. The stream needs some chewing tobacco. All right, boys. Thank you, Jay, the Ask Messiah, and Obi-Wan Kenobi, Dan the Card Man. We'll tag them. Obviously, we'll put their details. You can follow them on Instagram. Drop a subscribe to Dan's YouTube channel as well. We'll tag that. Drop us a follow. Drop us a subscribe. And hopefully we can do this again in the near future. Positive said, you've ruined the hobby. I love. Good night. And on that note, keep living, loving, and breathing sport. It's Juanito, Swanito, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and the Ask Messiah _19. It's double coverage. Peace out.
Cheers, guys.
Until the next scam.
Thank you for tuning in. Please don't forget to leave a review on the Apple Podcasting app. Also, follow us on socials: Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and TikTok. Talking all sports. Double curve.